over here cause of cashless. Tried to put me in a box, but I'm cashless.
Happy Tuesday, you guys. Welcome to Fluent Chill. It's gonna be, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, this is gonna be a great show. There might be some hurt feelings in the chat, but you know what? That's what we live for. That's why we're here. So you guys have seen the title. We're done with the 90s. Jay, I
don't know why it's a new movement. I've been done with the 90s.
Okay.
I've been done with the 90s for at least 2 years. When I don't know why people forget. Do you remember we did a debate show? Do you remember we did a debate show, that first Black Friday debate show?
Right.
What era did I pick as the best?
This era.
This era.
Yeah.
Did I say the 90s? Did I say the 80s? Did I say the 70s?
That don't mean you're done with the 90s, though, Tom.
And Jordan's your guy, so we're gonna have to dig a little into that conversation.
You forget, I am not a fan of Jordan. Everyone thinks because I defend him because people are stupid and they say stuff that isn't true, and I correct them, that I'm a fan. But ask Jay, how do I feel about Jordan?
He hates Jordan, as a matter of fact.
Hate him.
Yeah, he hates Jordan. Magic is his guy, if we're being honest.
And then later on, Kobe. Yeah,
Magic is his guy. So.
So we are going to get into that, and if any of you guys have the audacity, I guess, to come up here and share your takes, we'll make sure to get you guys up here.
I'm looking for some people, because I posted it on TikTok and I said come, and they're all like, yeah, I'm gonna see you there, I'm gonna see you there, and like,
we'll see about that.
I keep inviting.
We'll see about that, Tom.
I keep inviting people to the house, and they just I don't expect them to show, but they don't show. So.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Tom, because again, it's very similar to calling Tone outside. Hey, Tony, let's go. Calling him outside. Of course, Tone is gonna come outside, but
I'm coming.
When it's some people that you call outside, when some people that you call from outside, certain people, they won't show. So
yep. So I'm sure we'll see. Yeah, we're definitely gonna see that. Double P. I will share more. I was born in the 90s, so I'm never done with the 90s, but I will share my take later. And J. Chill, you see the Hawks posted you on TikTok? Did they really?
No.
They posted you on TikTok?
Let me see. I'll do some investigating.
Yeah, do some investigation. I would have thought, if anything, they would have posted me telling them they can't win with Trae Young.
Who's Dion? Did we call Dion Sanders?
No, that's spelled different. Dion Sanders has an E.
No, Dion is he was on the panel earlier today. His screen name is Dion from Ohio, and he had some interesting stuff to say. Well, I'm 100% confident that some years were taken off my life today. So
I don't know how you do it, Jay.
The stuff that I had to listen to today, there was some years that were taken off my life, like LeBron James. He started the small ball era. Let's see.
LeBron did?
Yeah, he started the small because he won with it with him and Chris Bosh and the small ball lineup. He started that. Nobody was doing that before they did it. Even though I'm 100% confident, I saw the Lakers do it with Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom. I saw it, Trevor Ariza. I'm pretty sure I saw that. That's number one. Anthony Davis clears.
Not see it in Phoenix when Amari Stoudemire was running the 5 with Steve Nash.
Well, he's talking about the team that won it. That's what he's talking about. Yeah, he's talking about the team that won it.
Are they the only team that won it?
No, the Lakers. No,
I'm saying. Well, Pau Gasol's a power forward, but I guess you could. Okay,
so last I checked.
Wait, what's a small ball lineup? What classifies?
I don't know. Hold on.
I feel like we have to define that.
Is it height? Is it height or position? Because the Pistons, Ben Wallace was what, 6'8"?
But he wasn't. It wasn't 5 out. That was the idea. It was 5 out.
Okay, so they're talking about 5. Chris Bosh wasn't really 5. Come on.
And even if that's true, Chris Bosh go a bit of 6'11". It's nothing 6'8" or 6'9" about Chris Bosh.
No,
he goes a bit of 6'11". Pau Gasol is 7 foot, which I was explaining this earlier today. Pau Gasol is 7 foot. He talks about LeBron James at 6'9". Lamar Odom is 6'10". So it's the same thing. I mean, Trevor.
Is it that? Are they that desperate? Like, are they that desperate? Like, Braun has to be like the beginning.
Yes, they are obsessed. That's how I feel about LeBron.
I think that's the whole we done with the 90s has nothing to do with 90s basketball. It all has to do with we don't know how to win the debate, so we got to
Mhm.
discredit an entire decade
Yep.
to try
Yep.
and make it unhappy. And here's the funny part: you do a phenomenal job of making a case for LeBron as the GOAT. I've told you this before. We still don't agree, but you do a phenomenal job. You don't have to discredit the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the
I don't
2000s.
talk bad about Jordan. I don't have to talk bad about Jordan.
There's knowledge there. I will say this. There's a dude on my TikTok, and I'm not even calling his name because he doesn't deserve the
Call him
clout.
out.
But I'll say this. No, I'm not. No. But he has commented, "We done with the 90s." I stopped counting it like 432 times. And when you do it that much, it makes me think of, I don't think you're done. Because if you get dumped or dump that chick and you say you done with her, but you talk about her every single day, you're not
Facts.
over her, bro.
And by the way, Tone, and not only do you talk about her every day, you talk about her to her. Like you calling her every day.
Every day, yeah.
Every day.
Call her
I'm
up.
done with you. I'm quitting you. 2 days later.
Driving by your house. I'm done with you. No.
Which one is it? Are you done or you not? Are you out or are you not out? So, and somebody in your chat, H, got their feelings hurt today because with the super chat,
Yeah.
he said he said the word brung. I don't know if you know this, sir, but brung is not a word. Okay?
Yes, it is. Yes,
What
it
is
is.
so
I
will tell you.
Please turn.
Let me look.
Okay.
Okay. And if it is a word, then it must have just been added to the Webster's dictionary.
I need to make.
Yeah,
it
because
make
Jay has a photographic memory. I can.
Please.
I have an eidetic memory. Go look. It's better than photographic. I'm lying. I have no memory at all.
Both are wrong.
As you know,
Pick up.
I was raised, or maybe you don't know, I was raised by, other than my mom, but because she was working so much, I was raised by about 4 or 5 of her coworkers, these Jamaican ladies. And brung has 2 actual meanings. So they always would say they have beautiful brung skin, they have beautiful brung hair and brung eyes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And if they brung something to the party, like they brung some, they brung some
No, that's
potato salad.
incorrect.
Yeah, they brung
They
some
might say
potato
it,
salad.
but
It's
brung
fact.
is not
ain't right.
actual.
It's
Brung
been in
is,
my vocabulary
right.
for over
It might
40
be in
years.
your
So
vocabulary, but
It's
brung
wrong.
is not an actual word. The correct word is brought. Okay, so I want to make sure we clear on that. Not bought, but brought.
brang,
So
brang
yeah,
or brung or wrong.
brang on you brang something or
Come on,
you
James.
brung something. Those are not real words.
If you don't know brung, there's not enough Jamaican in your life. That's all I'm going to
yes,
say.
I don't know what else to tell you.
You can
brung
say
is
it,
not a word.
but
Absolutely.
it's not in the dictionary.
Yes,
So.
you did. So there you have it. There you have it right there.
James B.
Kirk Cousins is winning, H. I love me some Kirk Cousins, boy. Let me tell you.
Hey.
Tone, if I don't love no quarterback, I love me some Kirk Cousins, B. Kirk Cousins is winning.
No one has got paid so much to do so little.
What? What are we doing, Tone? We talk about a dude, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't play on 1 franchise tag. I think he played on 3 of them. I know for a fact he played on 2. I know that for a fact. I know for a fact he played under 2 franchise tags. I think he played under 3, but don't quote me on that. But I know
Who cares about that.
But hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, Tony, because it gets better. So I'm 100% confident he played under 2 franchise tags, which totaled $50 million. Then he moves on to the Minnesota Vikings, which for the first time in NFL history gets a $84 million fully guaranteed deal. Guaranteed deal. There was no money up front. There was nothing. There was no incentives. $84 million guaranteed. So
how
now
much guaranteed?
All of it. 100% of it was guaranteed. $84 million. So then he moves to Atlanta to sign a $184 million deal with $100 million of it guaranteed. So we talking H, $50 million in franchise money with franchise tag. That money was guaranteed, by the way. At $84 million guaranteed, that's a grand total of $134 million. Then add another $100 million to that, which is guaranteed, to a grand total of $234 million. Man, Kirk Cousins is winning. I love me some Kirk Cousins, boy. Yes, sir. 4 Pro Bowls. I think 1 trip. No trips to the conference championship. No trips to the bowl game. I want to make sure I'm remembering him correctly, Tom. Right? I want to make sure I'm remembering him correctly.
No MVPs, no Super Bowls.
No MVP, none of those. $234 million. Kirk Cousins is winning. I love me some Kirk Cousins, boy. Let me tell you.
Okay. It's bad audio.
Oh, boy.
It was remember that first, I want to say that first episode of the panel when you I don't know if it was the first episode of the panel. I believe it was my first episode on the panel after we became the panel, right? Originally we were the Jason Williams show. Yeah. And then we became the panel, and I was off for a week or two, and then I came back, and I think it was the first time you and Ticket were on the same show.
Yep.
And you lost it, and you text me and you're like, that was that audio. That was a long time ago. And
so we clear for those of you who don't know, when that happened, we were already almost 3 hours into the show.
Oh yeah, it was.
Just so you guys know,
max ticket minutes.
Right. It wasn't like we had just started and we had been there for like 5 or 10 minutes. We was almost 3 hours into the show. Right. We was almost 3 hours into the show. And we had been
run around in a circle for 3 hours. Tell me how good you feel.
Oh my God, it was incredible, man. It was incredible. So I had a real difficult time with that.
So let's do it. Let's shout out to Kirk Cousins. $250 million. You said, is that what his earnings have been so far with Minnesota? And
234
with Atlanta, guaranteed. Yep. To an incredible, 9-8, 8-9 season in Atlanta. Great job. Congratulations.
What are you gonna do, Tom?
Man, if that's what mid gets paid, damn. You're done with the 90s. Good. I'm glad everyone's done with the 90s.
No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You the dude spinning the block. You the dude spinning the block at your ex-girlfriend's. You done with her, but you still driving by her house. That's you.
No, hey, listen. No, I get it. When you don't understand calculus, when you don't understand trigonometry, you just quit. I get it. You're done. It's good. It's all good. But hey, I can make you more fluent if you really want to know. 331 million. Damn. Oh, my favorite. Oh, you know what my favorite Stone Cold Steve Austin moment is?
Yep.
I have it handy. I have it.
What?
Go. Didn't you do a top 10? Did you do a top 10 favorite?
What? 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 I drank a beer. What?
Drank a beer.
What?
So we'll get into the conversation. I see a lot of you guys in the chat talking, so you guys better come up and debate this topic. I don't know where Fluent and Jay stand, so we'll have them give their premises and then we'll dive into that. But before we do that, we want to talk about KD. Jay, thoughts on KD over the last few games?
Well, first of all, we're talking about a guy who's been the most consistent. When I say the most consistent, he's been available the most. These are the most games that he's played since he tore his Achilles in the 18-19 season. And in the process of him doing that, he's been phenomenal, shooting over 50% over the last 10 games. He's averaging 30 a game. Somebody at this age who's still that sharp, considering how inconsistent that Phoenix lineup has been. And I'm not a huge KD fan. I'm definitely more of a Jason Tatum guy and a James guy. I'm definitely more on that line. But what KD has been doing for that Phoenix Suns team, how inconsistent that lineup is.
Yeah.
Him being their lead guard, him being their shooting guard, him being one of their better rim protectors. All of that stuff and keeping them afloat. I mean, they still right outside the play-in tournament. They are a bona fide playoff team right now, and that's largely due to KD. I think that if they were a little bit higher in the standings, if we're talking about if they were 5 or 4, and I think he would definitely be more in consideration for league MVP because he's been nothing short of phenomenal with the Phoenix Suns. And I have to eat some crow here because this is the same KD who I said before the season, considering what I had seen over the last 4 years, I didn't think he was going to hold up because all he had done over the last 4 years was break down and get himself injured. I'm asking myself, is this the beginning of the end of KD? Is KD going to eventually be over? Well, he's eventually going to be over, but is it going to be sooner than later? But this season, he's been nothing short of phenomenal. KD's been great.
And as you know, I'm a big fan of KD. Huge fan of KD.
Massive.
Massive fan of KD. Let me give you some, I want to give you the week here. So KD last week led all players in the NBA with points at 38.7. Shout out to my guy IQ, averaging, this is just last week, of course, last week's leaders, 10.7 assists per game. Sabonis, 18.3 rebounds. And Miles Turner, turning back the clock, looking like an old school player with 3.3 blocks per game. Alex Caruso, that Elmer Fudd looking dude, 3 steals per game too. So congratulations to all those guys on what they did last week. That being said, I'm not going to eat any crow, but I will say this. I've been impressed with KD because he's always had the most talent around him. And in this case, we were going to say the exact same thing. But that lineup, you're right, that lineup has been Booker's in and out, Beal's in and out. Everybody's just like, it has been very inconsistent, and he has been the consistent guy. And this team could easily be out of the play-in, like easily. Like, what are they? They're only 3.5 games out of 10th, right? So it's still close. They could easily make an excuse. Everybody's hurt. Everyone our big three hasn't been able to play together. Then they easily could have just been that team that if they were in 9th, 10th, whatever, I don't think anyone would have said, maybe some would have gone at KD, but the team, the roster, the inconsistency of the lineup, they're in 6th. And they are just as close to being in like 4th, 5th, or 4th, or 3rd, or 4th as they are being in 10th. So as much as the negatives will say they could easily be in 10th, well, they could easily they go on a little run. If everyone gets healthy, they can bump up to the 4th or 3rd seed. And that's because of KD's consistency and how well he's been playing. So You know what? I give KD a shout. I think this is one of his most impressive seasons, especially at these later years in life where he's doing everything he needs to do. He is definitely the leader of this team, which I questioned in the past if he could lead a team. He is definitely the leader of this team. He's doing it on the court as well, obviously, statistically, when you watch him play. Like, shout out to Kevin Durant. I think I'm going to give him more props for this season, I think, than almost any other season he's played, especially if they keep that, if they can get into that, if they can get healthy and get like the 5th or 4th seed, it's because he's basically held them up there for the majority so far this first half of the season. So shout out to KD. He's been playing really well.
The thing is playing really quick, Jay. The thing is playing devil's advocate here. Has KD really done anything different coming to Phoenix and playing consistently every single game that he's healthy and available to play? He's doing what he's always done. He's just always had talent that was actually healthy playing alongside him. So I think, I don't know if the reason you're crediting him more this season is because, he played throughout the Brooklyn season where Harden was, in and out. Kyrie was in and out. Like, he's done this everywhere he goes, but it's just because he ring chases that his legacy or, his reputation is tarnished in NBA media, I guess. Like, what's different about this season?
For me is he's played. I told you a couple of years ago, I thought he was going to be right on the decline, and he was, and the injuries and age and whatever was going to start to pile up, and
which it was.
I would have expected this game. He would have been, the Beal, who's only played 36 of 65 games. But he isn't. He's played 58 of 65 games. He's playing 37 minutes a game, right? He's averaging 29. I'm going to look it up so I don't misquote. 29, 7 and 5.5, right? 1.3 blocks. Like he is the most consistent I've seen him since his prime, because I thought his prime, and it was, right, the injuries and whatever, I thought that was the end. We saw the end. And he's just like, he's turned that decline right back up again. And to miss only 7 games, like I said, to be that consistent and still this good, no, I give him credit. And like I said, he has built-in excuses, right? Beal's only played 36 games, built-in excuse. We have no bench, built-in excuse. And he's just done. And the one thing I've always, I knock KD a lot, but the one thing I've always said about him that I admire, he loves playing basketball. He loves the sport of basketball. That is his life. So so I'll give him his credit when credit's due.
Well, I think one of the main reasons why you think that they could get the 4 seed is because Buffalo's in the 4 seed.
Of course. Buffalo is Buffalo.
If anybody can fall apart, they're only 4 games back from the LA Clippers. And
There you go.
if anybody can go to pieces, it's them. We've seen what happens with Russell Westbrook now being out of the lineup for at least a month because he broke his hand. Paul George has been in and out of the lineup. They had a game a couple of nights ago. I mean, what's today? Tuesday. So Sunday afternoon they had a game with Milwaukee. No Leonard, no Paul George, no Russell Westbrook, and Milwaukee handled them. So if anybody can go to pieces, it's the Clippers. So I understand it from that aspect. But to your point, H, KD's game hasn't changed because KD's game was never predicated on flight and athleticism. That was never his game. KD's game was about skill set. KD's game was about getting to spots. And when he started breaking down, he could still get to spots, but he couldn't get to it like he normally could because he was breaking down. When he tore his Achilles after the 18-19 season, he sat out the 19-20 season, the 2021 season when he was in Brooklyn. He misses half the season because he's got a hamstring injury because of the bubble and all of that good stuff. So he wasn't able to do what he needed to do. And then the year after that, he also got hurt because he had a knee issue. Somebody ran into his knee, which happens when you're younger and you heal up a lot faster, as opposed to when you get older. Things don't heal up as quickly as they do when you're younger. So then he's going into the playoffs after playing 8 games, and he's less than stellar. This season is the first time since 5 years ago when he was with the Golden State Warriors. He's actually been healthy. And since he's been healthy, his game hasn't changed. He still has the goods. The question is how long can KD play at this level? How many more years? And I'll have some people say stuff to me like, yo, KD got at least 3 more years at this level. No, he doesn't. Because in 3 years, he's not going to be 35. So to not be 35 years old means that I'm not going to be able to do at 38 what I did at 35.
Can he? And we always have this conversation, and I'm starting to think I'm going to stop having it.
Is this Kevin Durant love, Fluent?
No,
Yes.
I just
Oh my
maybe.
God, what
Not
is
love,
happening?
not love, just honesty.
Oh my, wow.
We always talk about how many more years he can do it. Who cares? How about we just look at it this year? He's doing it this year, and let him do it this year. Because you brought up a good point. Like we've seen, don't get me wrong, every time you say his game isn't predicated on athleticism, someone will always, look at this clip of him, taking off and throwing it down. And yeah, he could do that, but his game doesn't need that to be successful. He is the type of player that could get a little heavier, a little heavier, a little bit slower, a little bit whatever, and still be very effective because his game he doesn't, even when he was, quicker and jumped higher and dunked the ball harder, and those weren't the things he needed to do to be successful. So he's the type of guy that can just go get his spot anywhere on the floor, score anywhere on the floor. He's long enough to bother someone defensively. His game could last beyond those years that typically, there's always exceptions, right? LeBron is an exception. Tom Brady's an exception. There's always these exceptions. Because of his game, he's probably going to be another one that, and again, he wants to, right? He's a gym rat. He wants to play ball. He's one that could play into, to 40, and be okay.
Is KD's game going to age gracefully, Tone? If you look at his, if you look at his body, because there aren't a lot of guys whose game is going to age. I don't think Giannis's game is going to age gracefully. I don't.
No. When Giannis, that's a great example. When Giannis's athleticism, and he's a freak athlete, so that might last longer than most. But when his athleticism starts to dwindle, or heaven forbid, he goes through an injury like KD, he won't be able to recover because now he's going to need to become a jump shooter. He's going to need to have a post game. He doesn't really have that skill set in his arsenal today. Now, doesn't mean he can't develop it. Whereas KD, right? If KD loses his athleticism, that's okay. Right. If he got hurt, we saw, and I just thought, again, my thing with KD was he got hurt and he would continually stay hurt just because of his frame. But he's healthy. As long as he stays healthy, his game can translate beyond years. So, he's got that game that doesn't matter. Yeah.
He still has that 2 dribble pull up, right? He still has that 1 dribble pull up to the right. He still can get to the mid range. He's still really good in transition. And does he fly up and down the court like he did 8 years ago? No, he doesn't do that. But
he could still shoot over 90% of those players in the league.
Absolutely. I think that's the difference. But I'm thinking to myself, can he still do it at this level in 3 years? That's what I'm thinking about.
Unless something changes. Unless
Well,
something changes with the rules. Unless something
which
changes
is
with
what
the
they're trying to
rules.
do, Tone. Remember that.
I know, but
They're trying to do
that's
that
why
now.
I will preface
Right.
what I'm about to say. Unless something changes with the rules,
Right.
can't put your hand on him, right? So he's going to be able to do that 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull up,
Right.
and he's money. He's
Right.
you know what do they call him? Something sniper,
Easy
whatever.
money, easy money sniper.
Easy money sniper.
Easy money sniper.
Worst nickname ever. But the defense isn't allowed to stop that today.
Right.
So yeah, he's going to be able to. He's still a guy that can score 27, 28 points a game in 3 years from now. 100%.
You honestly see, Tone, you honestly see KD at 38 years old averaging 27 a game?
I see KD playing again, barring injury.
We take an injury off the table.
This
is what I'm thinking
about.
about.
Till he's 40. Till he's 40,
man.
and I'm seeing the way I'm seeing it is like 27 a game, and those last 2 years at 39, 40, still probably 24, 25 a game. Still a very serviceable scorer.
Because we've and again, we're talking about a guy who
because 24, 25, 24, 25 points a game, as crazy as it sounds, isn't that crazy anymore. You know what I mean?
Like not. It is not. Because this is what I'm thinking about, Tone. I'm thinking about a guy who, sure, his game does translate, but in terms of my body, in terms of my body frame, I'm still not going to be able to run as fast as I used to. I won't be able to jump as high. I probably will still be able to get my shot off, but we can't leave out stuff like injury, especially when we get to that age. Like LeBron James is an exception, but we're still on a year-to-year basis with James. There's no way that anybody thinks that James could continuously do this for the next 4 or 5 years. Because at some point, if he keeps going, he's gonna break down. He's not gonna keep going. At some point, he's gonna break down. That's just how the human body works. So when I think about KD at age 35 years old, he's still sharp. Jordan was still sharp at 35. Jordan wasn't what he was at 35 than he was when he was 31, when he was 30, because he's older and his game was predicated on a lot of different things back then. He got smarter. So when you get to 38, 30, 37, 38 years old, KD is going to start slowing down even more. Because again, Tone, you just mentioned Giannis Antetokounmpo. His game doesn't age well, right? Chris Paul, interestingly enough, his game didn't age well because he broke down. We can't leave out the fact that KD over the last couple of years has been breaking down. This year may be an exception, but if it's not, even though we have a history, we can't discount that.
The thing with KD is when you compare him, let's say, to LeBron, from a skill set standpoint, right? He is a significantly more skilled scorer than LeBron. So LeBron still relies on him. You know, he's still big and strong and fast and can jump. Like we see those flashes, right? Now, give him credit. He's shooting over 40% from 3 this season, which is an anomaly for his career. So the question could be made, well, you know, is this year the exception? Like, does he go back to 35, 34%? And now he's averaging 22, 23 a game? Don't know. Maybe he's become a good 3-point shooter. Well, I think the same with KD. I think what I've seen from his skill set is he can still score because he can score from anywhere on the court. So again, that's what his game is predicated. Look, you're not asking him. And here's the other thing, right? You've never asked KD to do anything other than score, right? Like, and I'm not saying he can't. What I'm saying is you've never asked him to be like an elite defender. You've never asked him to be an elite playmaker. You've never asked him to do any of those things. You said, I want you to score. Everything else you get from him is gravy. So if all you're asking him to do is score, as long as he keeps playing, because here's the one thing, you know, you brought up Jordan, and he's, you know, with 35 and then 31, but 35-year-old Jordan was significantly different than 38-year-old Jordan. And the reason for that is, well, he didn't play for 3 years. And this is a very huge misconception that people go talk to your doctors, go talk to someone who has a, what is that degree that people
kinesiology?
Kinesiology, yes. Go talk to a kinesiology, since you're all in university, go talk to a kinesiology major, and they will tell you this as fact, not as opinion, my friends, as fact. Playing for 3 years is better than not playing for 3 years. I know people want to say, oh, the wear and tear. No, wrong. Because anyone who's played sports, anyone who has aged will tell you when you sit around, that is significantly worse than actually playing. Okay. Right. Your body, you get less limber. Like Tom Brady, I don't know if you're aware of Tom Brady. He does this thing. It's called plyometrics. I don't know if you're familiar with plyometrics, but it has a lot to do with a lot of massages and stretching. So you'll see Tom Brady at 39 years old take a sack and his body fold in half. If he had been sitting on the sidelines for 3 years, he would have snapped. But because of his plyometrics, his flexibility, his continuing play, he and bounced right back again. Again, I'm not the doctor. Go talk to the doctor because you won't believe me. I promise you. So Jordan sitting for 3 years is like the equivalent of someone playing for 7. Like, it is the worst thing that you can do to your body is stop, right? And so that's why I think KD now, why I think maybe I was wrong about his injuries. I thought after a couple of years of injury, he was just going to flame out and be injured. What he's done, though, is gotten healthy. And as long as he continues, right, to play, I think he's fine. I think he's actually fine.
The question is, how long can he do this? Because what I'm seeing right now is nothing short of phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's great. The question is how we had, I just think it's logical, Tone, when you get to this age to start to question, when is the end coming? This isn't KD from 26 years old or 28 years old. This is KD in year 17 at 35, right? This is KD in year 17. So after what we've seen over the last couple of years, that's logical to think, is the end coming? But it's obvious that he's still got the goods. And because he still has the goods, he's been nothing short of phenomenal. And I definitely can dig it. So
Double P hit us with the super chat. Speaking of KD, it reminds me of a debate me and my coworker were having. Who do you guys rank higher all time, KD or Kawhi? KD for me, easy.
Leonard.
And it's not just based on chips. Well, I mean, actually.
Well, they got the same amount of chips.
Yeah.
No, it's KD. He's had more elite seasons.
And KD
more
has
individual.
Better.
Yeah.
He's been more consistent. He's had more elite
Kawhi,
seasons. Though. He's fantastic.
I love his game.
What we forget.
I think Kawhi could have been better than KD if he had been more healthy. Maybe he had other situations.
Right.
I don't know.
The thing for me is, as you know, I don't rank either one of them because they're active players. However, as they're trending, KD is trending to be ranked higher, and it's going to have to do with the fact that when you look at them, if you look at their peak and their skills, whatever set, Kawhi should have been the better player because he can do it on the offensive end and the defensive end. Yeah. Right? Like, KD is a better scorer than Kawhi, but Kawhi is a significantly better defender than KD. Both
Tony, if it ended today, who's the better player? Leonard or KD? If it ended today.
I would struggle, but I would put KD there only because Kawhi didn't come out of the gate as being great. It took him time. Like, even when he won that Finals MVP, he still wasn't Kawhi at that point. Right. So he got some of those accolades before he got defensive team before he had to carry an offensive load, right? So he was on a team with Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, and so he got to ease into his greatness. And then once he won, unfortunately, then he started to break down. So we never really saw. There was no peak longevity, right? And peak longevity does you know how I feel. You need to be the best for at least 8 to 10 years. You need to have a peak of at least 8 to 10 years, and I don't think he had that. So I would say if it ended today, I'd probably put KD ahead of Kawhi, even though I would say Kawhi's the better all-around player. How
about peak-wise?
If I had to rank them,
who had the best peak?
Well, I'm about to ask you that, H. So, H, if you think today, when did Kawhi Leonard? When did he become elite? In what year did Kawhi Leonard become elite?
He was pretty good right off of that, but
year 3, 4? Was he elite? So the year that they won the NBA championship in 2014, was he elite?
You talking Kawhi?
No, elite.
Leonard, that's what we're talking about.
No, he was not.
No.
So the year he won the Defensive Player of the Year, which is the year after
that's probably his best season. Okay,
so now we're in year 4 at that point, right? We're in year 4 at that point. So he's elite year. So 14-15, he's elite. He wins the Defensive Player of the Year. 15-16, he wins the Defensive Player of the Year again. He finishes second in league MVP votes. 16-17, he was also elite. That was the year that they won 67 games. I think no, they won 60 games that year. They lost to the Warriors in the West Finals. 18, he doesn't play that year, because he got hurt with the knee injury, right? Then 19, they win the NBA championship in Toronto. So that's 4 years. Then 20, that's the bubble. That's another season. 21.
But he gets hurt in those playoffs, does he not?
Not in 20, not in the bubble. In 21.
21, okay.
In 21, in the West semifinals, he tears up his knee. So that's an incomplete, right? So he misses 22. He misses 20. He plays 23, and they bring him along slow. Then he breaks down again in the playoffs, Tone. So that's another incomplete. And then this is where we are now with him. Is this an elite season that Kawhi Leonard is having this year? I think it is. I think
it is. But do you see the point? Like
best.
you've got 3 seasons of injuries,
right?
In that 7-year mix, so it's hard. Whereas KD, right? He comes in and he's he's great right from the gate, and he's the guy, and he takes that team on 2012 to the NBA Finals, and he's elite straight through, no breaks until 18-19 or 19-20, 18-19. So he's got that long stretch of, hey, I saw what he did. So that's why I say, like, the peak, again, if you say peak just that one season, I'm probably taking the one season of Kawhi over one season of KD. But when I can't look at the peak being just one season. So when I look at it over kind of a 5-6 year stretch, that's why I say I think KD had the better peak as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can't really blame. Now, Kawhi came into a great team, whereas KD went to a great team, but they both had some pretty significantly, like, solid teams around them, whether by draft or by free agency. So they both, they're both very fortunate. To, I don't think they've ever played on a bad team. Well,
KD has. I think his rook season when he was in Seattle, they were bad.
Okay. Yes.
Well, and I think in Oklahoma City in 09, they weren't very good that year. But they were getting better. That's how they got
very early. Yeah, very early on.
Right.
But
I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah, there's so few people that come into the league and in years, like, unless they go to a bomb squad, there's very few players year 1, 2, 3 that are in a good situation. So I don't really hold that against anyone, really, because how often do you get to be Magic, go into a team with Kareem? Like, it's not
Tone,
normal.
Tone, you laughing? I want you to think about over the last 40 plus years, who else has done that?
Bill 40 years. Okay, I was gonna say Bill Russell, but no one.
Nobody else has done that. Nobody else has done that. Just walked on a crew like that, where I was the missing piece and stayed there for their entire career.
Yeah, no.
Him and
that's why Steph's the best point guard.
And Bird. I mean, Bird was on a bad Boston Celtic team, right? Bird was on a terrible Boston Celtic team that won 24 games the year before he got there. So when I think about what KD has done, I mean, we're talking about I think 8 out of 9 years, 8 out of because I won't count the second year. I mean, he was 25 a game. I'm not really sure 25 a game is elite.
KD?
Yes. I mean, he was 25 a game in year 2, but he was pretty damn good.
Yeah,
but he led the league in scoring in year 3, and then he led the league in scoring from year 3 for the next 5 seasons. He led the 3 of the next 4 years after that. He led the league in scoring again. Right.
If I may just quickly. Oh, not that one. Sorry. Just Kobe. No, Kobe was not.
Sorry.
Kobe. Would you stop? Kobe came in, and Kobe wasn't the missing piece, right? Kobe started on the bench. It was, Eddie Jones was starting, and he had to kind of work through it. So, yeah, even Kobe, for as great of a team that they eventually became, they still had to tweak some things. They had to get rid of Del Harris. They had to tweak it a little for Shaq when he came over. So even he kind of, those first couple of years, he wasn't even starting the first 2 years. So. Yeah, no.
He started in the All-Star game, Tony. He wasn't even starting on his own team. That's incredible.
Well, listen. Well, that's what happens when the people know better than the coaches.
That's incredible. But back to KD, Kawhi Leonard became. This is why I have such a difficult time with the Jordan had no left, because I don't know if a lot. I know you two know it, but a lot of you guys out there, just so you know, Kawhi Leonard did not come into the league as a bucket getter. He was a defender. That's who he was. He was a defender. None of us thought Kawhi Leonard. If you would have told me in 2011 this kid from San Diego State was going to be the best defensive player in the league and he's going to be giving you 25 a game on a Tuesday, I would have been like, get the hell out of here. Especially when you saw what you saw in college from him, because he wasn't a bucket getter. That wasn't his game. He developed that at the pro level, and it took him some time to develop that, right?
Wait.
So,
Jay, what was his stats? Or I don't know. I can look him up too. But what was his college career stat line like?
I don't. He played 2 years at San Diego State, and I don't think he averaged 20 a game one of those years.
Really?
I don't think
I didn't know that.
He was not. Listen, he was not. He was not a very highly touted guy, even though he was 15th, I think, 16th, 15th, 15th overall pick
14,
by Indiana. By
14,
Indiana picked him.
Yep.
And traded him for like nothing.
Right.
Wow.
That's what
like,
they did.
Nothing. They traded him and 2 other guys for George Hill. Like that's how highly they thought of him. Sorry, what was his numbers? Sorry, you pulled it up.
14, 10, and 2 was his
It's not bad for college though. Actually, not bad for college.
Bad.
2009, 2010.
That's it. And at that time, it wasn't the Mountain West Conference. What it is today, it was the WAC, right? The Western Athletic Conference, and he was considered the best player in that league. Greg Popovich obviously saw something, but the point is that Kawhi Leonard was not that when he showed up. When he showed up, he was a really raw, inefficient scorer who had potential to 1, be a scorer, and 2, be an elite defender. And it took some time for that to happen. KD shows up. In year 2, he's 25 a game. He is a bucket getter, and it's not a question of who the best bucket getters in the game were. By year 4, we're talking about KD may be the best scorer in the game. By year 4, I mean, Kawhi Leonard, like you just said, Tone, we have 5 years of Kawhi Leonard of elite seasons. But in the middle of that, we got some incompletes. In the middle of that, we have some breakdowns. And because of that, I can't really put you in this because you won championships. I can't put you in the same category with people who've done it for a long time consistently, because that matters. The fact that you win championships, Leonard proved that in 18-19. Tone, tell me one more time who's got the most wins from 2010 to 2019. Which team?
The Warriors.
Nope.
Oh, like regular season?
Yeah, the Warriors are 1. The Toronto Raptors are 2.
Toronto Raptors. Right. So it's not difficult if you're a good player to get on a crew like this and push them over the top. That's not that difficult to do, right?
Listen, it's a team that has the most wins, and you go from DeMar DeRozan, who I love, to Kawhi.
He was better than him.
You've taken the step.
He's better than him, no question about that. So with that being said, you get a guy like Kawhi Leonard on the crew. I can't judge you off of that. I can't judge you just off that. I got to judge you off other stuff too. How long were you awesome? How long did you play at a high level? And Tone, when you talk about a guy who only gave me 5 elite seasons, that's it? That's all I'm getting? Nah, man.
And speaking of elite, we got to give a shout out to first overall at Dance Attack, Missy Ray Ray.
Yes, ma'am.
Missy Ray Ray. Missy Ray Ray killing it. Shout out to, as I call her, Little Miss Fluent, Missy Ray Ray. Shout out. Congratulations, first overall.
Get busy.
I don't know how they do that. It's crazy. I break my neck.
I know. Reggie Reg, chill. You got to take some responsibility capping for LeBron all the time. These 19-year-old TikTokers don't know anything about showing respect, which is a great.
Are you really going to blame me for that? How am I capping for LeBron? Please, H,
you only cap for Tatum. You don't cap for LeBron. I think you're real.
Enlighten me. What am I capping about? What are we doing here?
I mean,
I'm blaming you for this. This guy said he's done with the 90s. And he's stitching all of your videos talking about how you lost your mind and you were going to cry and your veins popping out of your neck. And I don't think he's done with the 90s because he's driving a 1999 Corolla. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there. You clearly can't be done with the 90s.
That dude right there, and he made a video about me because I wrote in his comments, I was like, of all the people, you shouldn't be talking about me, not you. Of all the people on the internet, not you. No, hell no. Not him. I don't know who that is, but not
I
him.
don't know who that is either.
He's of all the people on the internet, you should not be talking about me. Hell no, not you.
Hold on.
way.
FIFA. Are you
Don't
new?
give him time. Don't give FIFA
No.
time.
Petty Fluent. Are you new? I've been Petty Fluent for 10 years, bro. Longer than that.
FIFA, you want all the smoke. You better
All the
be
people-
on camera today. You better be. So all right, you guys, we're
FIFA
gonna.
is not pulling up. You crazy.
No, he ain't. No, he won't. He
Yeah.
won't.
Oh man. Okay, so let's jump into. Are we done with the 90s? We're gonna start out this way. I want both of you to kind of give 2-minute synopsis of your thoughts on it. We're gonna drop the link and we're gonna let people come up, and yeah, we'll have a little bit of a debate. So Jay, you are the kind of the fire starter. So why don't you give us your take?
You can't be done with something when what you are, this thing started because of you. You started because of this thing, not this thing started because of you. You actually, this is the reason why you are who you are. So you can't be done with it. It's like being done with your lineage. It's like me being done with my grandfather. It's like me being done with my great grandfather. That can't happen. I can't at 86 my people because I'm 2 generations removed. No, I'm not going to do that. And the 90s, a lot of these guys from the 2000s, from the 2010s, a lot of those guys were raised on the 90s. A lot of those guys got their game from the 90s. Some of your heroes, Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bryant, let's see, LeBron James, a lot of them got their games from the 90s. You're talking about guys like Dr. J. You're talking about guys, not just the 90s, but the 80s. You're talking about Dr. J. If there's no Dr. J, there is no Michael Jordan. If there's no David Thompson, there's no Michael Jordan. If there's no Michael Jordan, there's no Kobe Bryant. If there's no Kobe Bryant, there's no Devin Booker. There's no DeMar DeRozan. There's none of these guys because they got their game from him. Jason Tatum, he got their game from him, and he got their game from other people. He got his game from Dr. J. So you can't completely 86 that, right? I can understand that the game moves forward, and I understand that there are some great players today. I'm an advocate of loving great players. H gets on me all the time about how much I love Jason Tatum's game and how much I love a lot of these guys. But I can't forget about these other guys from the past and where it came from, because there was a lot of awesome basketball going on back then. And there's no way I'm going to just say, yo, we're done with this stuff. No, we're not. Not as long as I'm around. I will make sure that the 90s, that the 80s, that the 70s stay alive, because you need to know what your heritage is. You need to know what your lineage is. And there's no way that you can forget that and be great. There's no way that you can forget that and be great. And I won't let that happen. No, I will not.
And before you go, Fluent, I guess when we say we're done with the 90s, Fluent, to you, what does that mean? What do you think? Do you think there's differing opinions on what that means, which is maybe why there's miscommunication?
No, it is clearly a movement for two reasons. One, the reason is to uplift LeBron James to like unprecedented, undisputed GOAT status, right? Like that is the new movement, right? To try and, hey, we've tried stats, we can't win that way. We've tried highlights, we can't win that way. We can't do accolades, so we've tried the longevity thing, can't do that. That's not working because people are putting down. So how else can we do it? Oh, we'll tell you how bad the generation that he dominated was in, because this is casual on casual crime. Anyone who says I'm done with the 90s, and I've never used the word casual. The people who say I'm done with the 90s are casuals, and what they're doing is they're attacking other casuals who are also wrong, because they're attacking the people who said the 90s defense was so much tougher than today. The 90s was the hardest era, was the best era, and no, it wasn't. The 90s wasn't the best era. Let's just be very clear. So I want to touch on Jay's point for a second, because I've told you I think today's NBA is my favorite and is the best, right? We have more skill, more talent, more players, more athleticism, more intricate schemes offensively and defensively, except it's my favorite era. However, we wouldn't have gotten here if the 50s didn't do what the 50s did, if the 60s didn't do what the 60s did, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, if all of those things all of those things led up to today, just like today is going to lead into what the next people are going to tell you, that your generation sucked in the 30s and 40s, right? They're going to tell you your generation sucked because what they're going to be doing in the 30s and 40s is going to evolve and get better from what they learned today. And there's people who are so ignorant to think, and you know who you are, that, oh, well, it can't improve that much from today. Today's the peak. Yeah, that's what every generation says. So let me go back to my thing. So the 90s wasn't the best. So it's a casual saying that it's done with the 90s because a casual told them the 90s was the best. The 90s wasn't the best. The 90s was the best for what they knew and how they played the game. Just like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and today are. The rules in the 90s were different. Go back and look how many teams won NBA championships pre-90s without a dominant center. It isn't many. It isn't many. So the thought process was you score inside, you play defense. So when you see players and people, and I'm not picking on any of these, but Charles Oakley or Anthony Mason or any of these kind of power forwards, and they're like, well, they weren't skilled. They couldn't shoot threes. That wasn't the game. The game was predicated on you have one scorer, you have one rebounder, you have a center, you have a guy who brings up the ball, who facilitates and passes the ball. John Stockton wasn't not a scorer because he couldn't score. He was not a scorer because he was told his entire life, your job is to do this. Your job is to do this. You go back to Greece in 1970 and every woman was in the kitchen cooking. Why? Because everybody told them their whole life, that's your job. And now they tell them, no, go out and work. Okay, cool. Now they can do more. And as crazy and as chauvinistic as that sounds, that was NBA basketball. Your job was to do this. And if you didn't, because here's the best part. They think, oh, if I went back in time, I'd be doing this, I'd be doing that. No, you wouldn't. That's how I know you haven't played, is because people will tell you, if I'll tell you, I shot too many threes. And you know where it got me even when I made them? On the bench. On the bench. They're like, what are you doing? I heard my coaching. That's too far. It went in. I don't care. That was too deep. Huh? You know what I mean? Like, that's the part they don't understand. So that was the game as it was played. You could hand check. I'm telling you, anyone who says hand checking isn't a thing, I'll play them today. And you let me hand check, meaning I put my hand on your hip and tell you which direction you're going to go and drive you into a center that's sitting and waiting there. And why was the center sitting and waiting there? Because the centers of that, they weren't allowed to go outside and shoot perimeter shots. They weren't allowed to go out and shoot threes. So they had no choice but to go sit on the block. That's what their coach told them to do. So they're sitting on the block. I push them into him. Boom, you're blocked. Like it was it simplistic? 100%. That's why I say it's better now, at least for offenses. And that's why I say defense isn't bad today. Defense, sorry, going past my 2 minutes. It's not that defense is bad today. There's so many rules that you're not allowed to play defense today. It doesn't mean that there isn't good defenders. Drew Holiday, Rudy Gobert, like there's great defenders. They just can't do what they did in the 90s. So when you say it's trash, it was a product of their environment. It's what they knew. It's what they were told to do. Does that mean that you couldn't get Paul McKeskey? I love Paul. Paul, has a show, We Got Game, on Sports Fluent. Jack Sikma, Bill Lambier. Actually go back and watch. Those guys were a little bit let to go and shoot outside, but like 2-3 times a game. But it started with that, and it slowly became a thing where now analytics says, oh, do this, do that. And the game has changed, and people say 2000 is the best era. Jay, can you tell me, is the 2000s to 2010, is that one era? Because it's not. It's two different eras, because in the early 2000s, you had hand checking and zone. There were, right? So now you could hand check and play zone. Why do you think it was called the dead ball era and no one was scoring? And then what happens in 04, 05? They abolish hand checking. People start to pull away. So that second half of the 2000s was a completely different style of play. And then by 2010, all bets were off. So that's why when I hear people say they're done, I know that I don't know enough. And I've been talking to people who don't know enough. And that's all. And it's casual on casual crime. That's the best way I can explain.
Just so you guys know, and this isn't ridiculous for me to say, but Bill Lambier, a lot of people have a problem with him because of the dirty tactics, so to speak. But just so you guys know, he's Kevin Love today, because he was one of the first stretch fives. And he got roasted for that. He shouldn't be shooting the long ball, even though that was a part of their offense in Detroit. Him and Isaiah ran.
I just want to jump in and say, and why did they let him or force him to do that?
Because that's not where the big man was. The big
man. Why was
did they lose somebody out of the lineup?
No, it's because Rodman came in. And it's like, hey, get out of the way. Rodman's going to get all the rebounds. So now Bill Lambier's like, well, if I'm going to stay relevant, I got to do something else.
Right. And that was part of their offense. Bill Lambier was picking and popping in transition in the offense in the half court. He was shooting the long ball, and he got roasted for that. What is this big man doing? Big men don't shoot the three. Big men play on the block. Big men play down low. Why are you shooting the three? Do you think you're a guard? No, you're not a guard. You're a big man. And he got roasted for that, even though that led to the Detroit Pistons winning the NBA championship in back-to-back seasons. He was a big reason for that. It wasn't just because people look at that team as just a dirty team and they were just body slamming everybody. They were actually a really good team, and it was largely due to Bill Laimbeer being the kind of player that he was when he could shoot the basketball, when he can pick and pop like he was doing. So that was going on. It just was frowned upon. It wasn't like the guys couldn't do it. They could absolutely do that. It was just frowned upon during that time. And to say that that stuff couldn't go on today, I can't discount what these guys are doing today. I can't discount how the skill level has changed, right? I can't discount how much better guys have gotten today. But what you're not going to do, and I said this earlier today, what you're not going to do is you're not going to tell me that Dale Ellis wouldn't light this league up today. You're not going to tell me that. You're not going to tell me that Dale Ellis would light the league up. You're not going to tell me that Chris Mullin wouldn't light this league up. No way that he wouldn't light this era up, because he absolutely would. Chris Mullin's game is
Chris
tailor-made.
Jackson. He would love this era.
Yeah, this game is tailor-made for guys like Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf and Eddie Jones and Dan Marley, guys like that. This game is tailor-made for them. But then when you get to the dirty work guys, because a lot of y'all, what y'all think is y'all think of dirty work guys, y'all just think about these guys in their role on the team. Just so you guys know, AC Green averaged 19 a game at Oregon State. Dennis Rodman averaged 26 a game his senior year in college. Dennis Rodman wasn't an okay scorer. Dennis Rodman averaged 26 a game. AC Green averaged 19 a game, right? Horace Grant was first team All ACC before he got to the Chicago Bulls, right? When he came to the Bulls, he became a dirty work guy. There was no question about whether or not these guys can score. That wasn't their role. But that's what the game is today. The game is that today, because like my man Tone so eloquently put it, we have contracts. We need viewership. So what we need to do is we need to get eyes on the games. How do we get eyes on the games? We have to make this more appeasable. So what we can't do is we can't see guys getting clotheslined. That's not good for business. We can't see guys getting hooked. We can't see guys getting punched in the face. That's not good for business. What's good for business is high-scoring games. What's good for business? Basketball being better. So how do we do that? We got to change some of these rules. And the way we change some of these rules, we make it less physical. In the process of us making it less physical, viewership goes up. Viewership goes up, TV money goes up. The game improves. So there you go.
And not just that, like look at the way we handle the ball, right? Like there was a time, 50s and 60s, where you could only dribble at the top. Of course they weren't crossing over. Imagine trying to dribble the ball like this. And FYI, I always say this, and I know, and you got to look this up because people don't believe me. In the 50s and 60s, you know what they did if you were using your left hand in school?
They smacked it with a ruler.
They smacked it with a ruler. It was considered the devil's work. So you're damn right. Bob Cousy didn't really have a left hand, although I saw him throwing up some left-handed hooks. They would slap your hand. So he just grew up going like, I got to dribble on the top of the ball and do this. And now, like, I mean, it's not even side of the ball now. It's under the ball. You think so? Yeah, of course, but that's more exciting. I love to see that crossover where they're putting the ball underneath and taking 3 steps back, and now they have the gather step. So it is more entertaining, but understand that you can't compare someone who gets 3 steps and gets to carry the ball to a guy who only got 2 steps and had to dribble at the top or like 45-degree angle of the ball and say, well, this guy's more skilled than that guy. Well, that's an unfair comparison, which is my point. The other, you brought up, we actually got a super chat, so let's go to that, because I think that's let's start here. We'll start here with Double P because he's got a 2-parter. In the words of the great Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan couldn't go left, and if he went left more than 2-3 times, he had to pick it up. So the rules were very simple.
That's part 1.
Left side of the floor, send him left. Right side of the floor, send him left. In the middle, send him left. Take away his right hand.
Right.
Well,
and then
okay. Go ahead.
And
you go ahead first.
And then he developed his left hand, because that was a weakness when he first came into the league. Then he developed his left hand, and then they couldn't do that anymore. And then not only did he develop his left hand, he added a 19-foot fall-away jump shot to his game. Now I become impossible, in addition to me being able to dribble and finish with my left hand. Because when he first came into the game, he couldn't handle with his left hand, with his left hand. Just like a lot of the guys today, when they first show up, like Kawhi Leonard, for example. Kawhi Leonard couldn't score the basketball like he can today. He couldn't score like that when he first showed up.
How was LeBron from 3 and in the post?
Oh, he was not very good when he first showed up. James was not very good at all.
I believe in 2007 they wanted him to shoot the ball.
Yes, that was the idea. Keep James on the perimeter. Make him shoot 15 feet away from the bucket. Make him shoot 17, 18 feet away from the bucket. Allow him to do that. Invite him to do that. That was a weakness of his. But then he developed that. He became better at it, right? Because that's what players do. Because when players show up to the NBA or in football or in any place, if they're the same player that they were in year 1 that they were in year 8, then they probably ain't gonna last a year 8 because they're not gonna improve. So Michael Jordan, who sent him left. Yep, sent him left. Well, I recognize that as I get older. Well, I got to go work on my left hand. In addition to me getting stronger, I got to go work on my left hand because this is a weakness, and they think that in order for them to get to me, that this can't happen. If they can send me to my left, then I'm not going to be very good. All right, well, he works on that, and now he becomes very good. And in the process of that, goodbye, Detroit Pistons.
And may I say that wasn't the only thing, right? Like Jordan came in and he's like, I'm just going to score. I'm going to dunk on everybody. That was like you can go back and watch interviews if you actually take the time, because the funny part of this is I see guys who's like, I watched one game and I plotted all his turnovers, and 80% of his turnovers were him going left. You picked one game? One game. He played 1,072 regular season games and another 190, 180 playoff games. You're making a decision on one game? When he came into the league, he was a scorer. He was going to dunk on everybody. Then what did he say? He said, the Pistons said, hey, send him left. Of course, because he always had to come back to his right to shoot. He was a right-handed shooter. It made sense. You know what else they said? Beat him up. Why'd they say beat him up? Well, because he was weak. Why was he weak? Physically. It's because he said, I don't want to lift weights. He actually, again, interviews where he said, I don't want to lift weights because I think it'll change my shot, and I don't want to do that. Well, what happens after people are pushing you left and pushing you down? You say enough is enough, and you hit the gym. What did he become? He became one of the strongest at his position, one of the strongest, like people will tell you who played him later on, he would body you. And then he also became, go watch games. That's all I got to say.
Real quick, Tom. Real quick, Tom. Roderick told me it was like touching a piece of iron. That's what he told me.
There you go.
That's what he said.
Roderick told you it was like touching a piece of iron.
He said it felt like a piece of iron when I touched him. That's what he turned into. And guess what? He also became one of the best left-handed finishers at the rim that you've ever seen. Go watch the tape, not just one game. So when they say, oh, and it's funny because they keep moving the goalpost. Oh, he had no left. Well, here he is finishing left. Oh, well, he couldn't go to his left. Well, I don't know if you remember, but do you know which direction he dribbled? I know twice. Caught an inbound, dribbled twice to his left and shot to win a game. Yeah, that Cavs game where he wins game 5 at the buzzer to send the Cavs home. That's him going left. So then they change it and say, oh, he couldn't go more than 2 dribbles. Well, I showed you clips of him driving the entire length of the court with his left hand and then crossing over and dunking with his right, mind you. But still, so now that, what about him dunking on Patrick Ewing? Hello, that was with the left hand.
I was with the left.
Getting to the rim with the left hand, going back and then going back downhill with the left hand. So what up, young fella? What's going on? Yeah, getting to the rim with the left hand.
Every time someone, and shame on me for getting involved in the conversation, but every time someone says, oh, I saw him going left, I'm like, cool. Here he is doing it. There he is dribbling. There he is dunking. There he is laying it up. There he is passing with his left hand. I guarantee you, pick any player. And if I pick, because this all started with one guy picking one game, pick any player and I can show you anything you want me to show you. I can show you Steph being the worst shooter in the league. I can show you LeBron.
That can happen,
I know. I've seen you can take the clips that prove it.
Yeah, yes. I can show you that LeBron is the worst finisher at the rim, even though he's probably the best finisher at the rim.
Right.
Like when you take a small sample size trying to prove something, you can, but it doesn't make it reality. It does not. And here's the thing, even if he had no left, and I use this with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar too, even if he couldn't make any other shot, stop what I can do.
Isn't that
Stop
even
what I
more
can
phenomenal,
do.
though? Isn't that even more phenomenal?
Because
the fact that
last
that's
time I
kind
checked,
of the question I have. Why is
last
that
time I
such a?
last time I checked, Jordan averaged 37 a game with no left. Kareem,
Right? Isn't that even
up
more
until last
phenomenal?
year, Kareem was the all-time leading scorer ever with just a little hook shot. That's all he could do. Okay,
Stop this and you
stop
stop me,
it.
Tone. Stop this
Stop
and you
it.
stop me. He scored almost 40,000 points. Stop this and you stop me. And to add some context to what Tone was talking about with the video that guy made for the one game. So we're clear, guys, just so you know, the Chicago Bulls had played the Los Angeles Lakers. And for you young guys out there who are very influenced by other people and don't know things and don't use your brain, just so you know, Tone already told us how difficult it is to sit out for 3 years. Just so you know, when you're in the playoffs and you haven't played for an extended period of time, that's not good. That is not good. So the Chicago Bulls, had been off for 9 days in that first game. They didn't play in over a week. They had swept the Detroit Pistons out of the playoffs. They hadn't played for 9 games. What he fails to mention is that the next 4 games, the Lakers didn't win another game. The Lakers didn't win another game. And I can fast forward to the 2000s. When the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Lakers in game 1. So we clear, the Lakers hadn't played in 10 days. 10 days they hadn't played. All right, they hadn't played in 10 days. Philly didn't win another game after that. So the idea that that the Bulls hadn't played in 9 games, they were rusty. It was the first time that they were ever in the NBA Finals. That kind of stuff matters. If you honestly think that you have never done something before in your life, not only have you never done something before in your life, you have been out of it for a long time, you're not going to come back super sharp. That's not going to happen. As opposed to when you've been there before, not just been there before, you've stayed consistent. Those two things are not the same. So if we're gonna nitpick, like you said, I can put together a compilation. I can definitely put together a compilation of Russell Westbrook shooting the ball off the backboard. I can put together a compilation of Paul George, Pandemic P. I can put together a compilation of James Harden with the Olay defense. Don't even get me started on Damian Lillard. I can put together a compilation.
How about this? Do you want me to put together a package showing you that Jeremy Lin is the greatest basketball player of all time?
Man, how easily can we do that? Linsanity was a movement. Like we done with the 90s. Linsanity was that. It was a movement. 100% it was. So
it is. Casual crime. It's
I like that. I need a shirt with that. Well, maybe not.
I'll get you.
So I'm gonna send the link, guys, but I wanted to say one clarifying thing before we have any of you up here, and don't duck it now. I know a lot of you have been talking in the chat and all over across social media platforms, but if you have something to say, just make sure your camera's on. When you come up,
I'm gonna start calling out, just so you know. I'm gonna start calling out.
Yeah, we're gonna start calling out. But something I wanted to say is that Jay, when you put out that TikTok video, something very specific that you said is that prove to me that Jordan didn't go left consistently. So you can find bits and pieces here and there, but I think that's the premise that nobody's been able to prove you wrong that I've seen. So we'll see if there's somebody that can do that
over the course of his career. Because if we're talking about players today, James is not the same player in 2013, 2014 that he was in 2006. Kobe Bryant is not the same player in 2008 that he was in 2001. He's a different player. Shaq is not the same player in 2002 that he was in 1995. These guys are different players. And why are they different players? Because they worked on their game. They worked on their deficiencies. They got better at those things. The guys who didn't work on their game and the guys who didn't work on their game and the guys who didn't improve their deficiencies, you know why we ain't talking about them? Because they ain't around no more. That's why. They didn't work on their games. They didn't improve. So there's no reason for us to even discuss those guys because they didn't work on their games. The reason why we're talking about these all-time greats, because they did work on their games, because they did improve. They did get better year in and year out. We saw these guys come back with something different. We saw these guys come back. Giannis, how well could Giannis dribble with his left hand in 2016, Tone? Not as well as he could in 2022. I bet you that.
He still can't shoot.
He still might not be able.
He still can't shoot.
And that's a deficiency in his game. But he has been at a point where his jump shot has been somewhat respectable. He has had that in his career where his jump shot has been where, you know what? I may have to honor this, as opposed to he can't do anything else but this. That's not the case with him anymore. And why is that not the case? Because he actually worked on it. Just like Kawhi Leonard worked.
What if I were to go grab a tape of that game? I forget. It was a couple nights ago. I think it was Knicks and somebody, and neither team scored over 80 points.
Oh yeah, no, there was 10 teams that didn't score over 100 points that week.
Two teams didn't score over 80. You want me to show you that? Use that as the example. If I use that as the example for 2024 basketball, notice no one's pulling up. So I'm going to start calling you guys out.
You mean like right now, H?
Yeah.
I said you were coming.
57 points. That's it. They got 57 points.
Wait, who is?
Hip hop.
They got 57
you said
points.
You were coming.
We're 2 minutes left in the third quarter. We almost into the fourth quarter. They don't even have 60 points yet.
Man,
Lionel, I'm going to post this on my TikTok. Lionel, you said, bet, Unk, see you. I don't see you. RJ Rivera, where you at? Jimmy, Short Bus 1127. Account 123, J21. Where are you guys? We're all here in the comments here on my TikTok saying I'm coming, I'm pulling up. Where are you guys? Sunrise, where are you at? You done with the 90s? You said you're pulling up. Come on, Sunrise. Mars is probably sleeping, so we won't.
Mars doesn't sleep.
We won't hit up
sleeping.
Mars is a vampire.
If you count 1, 2, 3.
Mars is a vampire, no doubt about that.
And if you agree, you can come up too. I don't get why people are ducking.
Snuffle Pegasus, where you at? Fred Thomas, where you at? At Live 413. Come on. DT, where you at? Where you guys at? Come on, you all said you're pulling up. I'm gonna show you. Okay, come. Where you at?
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the defense and what are we seeing right now? You mentioned that there's a new rule, and like Fluent said, there was a game where they didn't score over 80, and last weekend there was 10 teams that scored 100 or under, or maybe it was 8 teams, but that's insane. That's ridiculous. Why are we seeing this?
Well, with the Philadelphia 76ers, we got to remember, when you take what you had to, when you take what they have out of the lineup, that completely cripples them. Like, when you lose that, you can't just replace that with by committee. That's just not the way that works. And what it does also is it exposes a lot of deficiencies that Philly has in terms of their ability to score, how they score, who's scoring. Because why? Everything that we were running ran through Joel Embiid. Everything that we got ran through Joel Embiid, whether it's off cuts, whether it's off pin downs, whether it's in transition. Everything that we got in terms of our offense ran through Joel Embiid. So now when we lose him, now we got to figure out different ways to score. It's not a lot of time to do that, H, because we're in a space now where it's only 5 weeks left in the regular season. So we depended a lot on Joel Embiid, who had been out since right before the All-Star break. So we're looking at close to a month now that he's out, right? So now these other guys, they got to figure out how to score in a variety of ways. Well, we don't have a lot of time to fix that because our offense, the way we ran our offense, was entirely around Joel Embiid. And because it was around Joel Embiid, now he's not here. We got to switch up our O because we don't have anybody else like that. We don't have anybody else close to that. So we got to do something completely different. We don't have a lot of time to do that, which would explain why there's 40 seconds in the third quarter right now, and the Philadelphia 76ers only got 61 points.
But that doesn't explain away the 8 teams last weekend that struggled. One of them, I can look them up, but I mean, why are we seeing it on such a consistent basis? And I think the other way goes as well. Why are we seeing so many 60-point games, 50-point games, 40-point games? Like, we're seeing that all the time, and that's just, it's lack of defense.
I can answer that. It's not lack of defense. It actually isn't lack of defense. I just pulled up because I thought it, but I always want to check the Philadelphia New York game, right? 79-73. Here's why it is. It's because you live by the 3, you die by the 3. So if you look at that game, right? Okay, there's people out. I get it. But when you are I think it's Philadelphia. Yeah, no, the Knicks. When the Knicks shoot 40 threes, 40. Okay, that's 50% of their field goal attempts were 3-pointers. 50%. They shot 80 total field goals, 40 of them, and you shoot 9 of 40, 22%.
Yeah,
you're not going to score a lot of points. But guess what? When you hit 20 of 40, well, shit. Now you score 120 points that game, right? The Knicks weren't. Sorry, it's not that the 76ers are that much better. They went 9 of 30. 9 of 30.
Garbage.
Right? 30% from three. So when you shoot that much volume, right? That's why, again, go back to being done with the 90s. Well, that's why they were like, hey, we're going to go with the surer bet. Yes, 3 is more than 2, but we're going to put it inside. And we know we're going to hit 60, 70% of those shots from inside. And when we're open, we'll shoot it from the outside. That's why people were, that's why the zone was even introduced or wasn't introduced back. If you go back when they eliminated the zone, they were daring teams to shoot and all their offense was coming from inside. So back to my question, I guarantee you, what day was it that they didn't score 100 points? What day did you say? Were it 4 or 5?
I think it was like last Saturday or
Was
last Friday or Saturday.
Was it the same day as that Knicks game?
Yeah, there
Or
was
the day
8
before?
teams. Mm-hmm.
So
No,
was
it was
it
the
that same Sunday?
same weekend. It was. I think it was
Same
either Friday
weekend?
or Saturday.
I'll tell you right now.
Pull
Tony,
every
okay,
team.
well, yep.
Pull every team. Watch. Here's the Grizzlies that same day. The Grizzlies scored 93 points. And look, we haven't rehearsed this, right? They shot 30% from 3, 11 of 33. Shock. We already talked to you about the Knicks and the. Okay, let's see the Magic. The Magic. Dun, 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 dun. The Magic shot 25% from 3, 9 of 36. Are you seeing a trend here, people?
Yeah.
Every team I picked that didn't score 100 points is because they shot horribly from the 3, where they also took a significantly high volume of shots. When you're shooting 40 to 50% of your shots from 3 and you can't make 30% of them, you're going to have a bad day shooting. That's why, we keep yelling. That's why, here's the thing. Guess what happens in the playoffs? Go track some playoff games. They shoot less threes. They shoot more mid-range. They go inside more. They slow down the pace. Now, scoring's lower, right? But all of a sudden, it's, the defense is better. These teams are... No. They play a different brand of basketball. They play winning basketball in the playoffs. They play entertaining basketball in the regular season. Now, when they're making their shots. Because if they made 20 of those 33s, oh my gosh, they scored 140. The league is so crazy. This is the greatest generation ever. We all can shoot, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, what happens when you miss, right? No offense to your team. What happens in the finals when Steph goes cold?
Especially when you're especially when your team is predicated on that. I mean, that's a prime example of that. The
Celtics were up 21 points.
Yeah.
Go inside. Slow it down.
That same week, that same day, H, when you just talked about Philly, and you talked about Memphis. Orlando scored under 100 points. 9 for 35 on a long ball. 9 for 35 on a long ball.
Yeah.
The next day, the Chicago Bulls get blown out by the Dallas Mavericks. They get blown out by the Dallas Mavericks. 7 for 34 on the long ball. The game is at the long ball line. And if your team isn't, and it seems like these teams don't have counters. Like if the long ball isn't working, that's it. They don't do anything else. They can't really do anything else. So the Chicago Bulls, who really don't have a lot of snipers, their game should no way be predicated on that. No way should their game be predicated on that. The Chicago Bulls, the Knicks neither. Should their game be predicated on that? No way.
I'll just one more quick example. The Jazz lost to Denver, 142-121. Tell me if you're surprised that Denver went 19 of 32, just under 60% from 3. Surprised. They scored 142 points. Like, it's not, guys, it's not rocket science.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, Fluent. And if you're a coach, what do you say as a coach to counter that? Because if the game is predicated either one way or the other on the 3, what do you do when another team, you just take the L? Like,
no, H, you have to that's terrible coaching, because you got to find other ways to score. It can't just be at the long ball line.
But you're still, what do we always say? 3 is better than 2, 3 is better than 1. So, I mean, what are you going to do when all you can make are, if you're either not able to score offensively or you're only, nothing is falling from 3 and the other team's going? What do you, better defense, I guess? Lock in?
Well, first of all, our game can't be predicated on that. I understand that that's the game today, but our game can't be just predicated on shooting the long ball, especially if we don't have the personnel to do that. And the Chicago Bulls don't have the personnel to do that. So we should have that in our arsenal where we can score in other ways, right? Mm-hmm. And if we can't score in other ways, we should definitely be able to be a better defensive team. Because if we're not a better defensive team and we can't score other than shooting the long ball, it's a recipe for disaster for our team.
And let me just add to that too, right? Because you said, how do you counter that? Well,
Yeah.
one, you have to play up on the 3-point line, even if that means you're going to give up some stuff inside, right? Because you're going to give up some 2s, but that's okay instead of 3s. But on those 3s, right? Because you have to press up a little, you have to understand the way the ball bounces. So if it's a long shot, it's going to be a long rebound. So that's where you need to take advantage of that and take those long misses. Because look, even if they do, with the exception of shooting 60%, typically they're going to shoot like 35, 40%. So every 10 shots, they're going to miss 6 of them. You need to get those long rebounds and get out in transition and get yourself easy buckets.
Right.
Because the one thing I know better than anything is if you start making some easy buckets, the rim starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger with every layup and dunk, and then your shots start to go down. And the beauty and horrendous thing about the NBA, it is a game of runs. So no matter how far down you are, you go on a run, you can get it back. You can get it back.
A prime example, Tom, would be the Toronto Raptors a couple of nights ago. I mean, 17 points. Was it last night? They up 17 against Denver. 17 points is not a lot of points in the NBA. It's not a lot of points in the NBA.
They lose by 10.
Right. You could go on a 10-0 run. You could go on a 10-0 run and cut this lead down. And in the process of cutting this lead down, now you get the momentum back on. So what up?
What's up,
What's up,
Bob?
Primo?
What up?
What's going on? What's up, Fluent?
What up?
What's up?
I agree. I'm a middle child, so I'm in both eras. So don't get me wrong. But when they talk about the 90s, I don't really think they're talking about Michael Jordan per se. But people got the LeBron Jordan debate, so it go back and forth. They gonna pick on Jordan. But I think talking about the role players, the other players like Jordan Clark.
Hey, Primo, really quickly, can you just turn your camera off just because we can't have you driving while on screen?
He's not driving, but also his internet's not good.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you hot now.
No, we can. Yeah.
Yeah, now you hot.
All right. I had to come on camera just to let you see me.
I appreciate that.
What I was saying is that we talking basically about the other players from the 90s, not the super greats like Hakeem, Elijah Wan, or nobody like that. But we saying like a role player now, Lauri Markkanen is better than a player back then. He'll be a star in the 90s.
But Lauri Markkanen isn't a role player.
Lauri Markkanen is the best player on his team.
But I'm saying not a role player. He would have been a star. You don't look at him as a top 20 player.
True.
Well, he was an all-star last year, was he not? Doesn't that make him top 30?
I've never heard him in a top 20 list though.
I said
top 30. I said top 30.
But I have heard him in a top 30 list. Yes, I have. I have heard him in the top 30.
But have you heard him in the top 20?
No, I have not heard him in the top 20.
Name a top 20 from the 90s. Just give me a top 20 and let's see which one.
So the top 20 players from the 90s. Let's see.
Well, pick a year. You got to pick a year because
the 90s, the decade.
Just the decade. All right. So Jordan. So Jordan, Lajuan, David Robinson, Barkley, Scottie Pippen, Drexler, Ewing. Let's see. Who am I leaving out? Malone. Who else am I? John Stockton, Shaq. Let's see. Who else am I? That's 10 guys right there. Who else am I leaving out? Guys like just from that decade.
I don't know who you said.
I said
let's just go. Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, David Robinson, Gary Payton, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, Alonzo Mourning, Dennis Rodman, Mutombo, Michael Jordan, Tim Hardaway, Grant Hill.
I'm hearing names that he better than right now.
No, I haven't heard one. I haven't heard one.
I'm hearing Rodman.
I don't know about that.
Dominique Wilkins, Joe Dumars, Penny Hardaway, Sean Kemp, Chris Webber.
Grant Hill. Guys like that.
Better than any of those
Chris
guys.
Webber like a 2000. Y'all taking a lot of 2000s players.
Chris Webber was drafted. Hold on.
Y'all taking a lot of players that
whole decade. You said the whole decade.
That peaked in the 2000s. Chris Webber was drafted in 1993. He showed up in the early 90s.
Chris Webber?
Yes, he showed up in 1993. Not only did he show up in 1993,
but he ain't peaked till 2000s though. Like
in 2000 and what?
We know that 2000 exactly.
He played 7 years of the decade though.
That's what it happened.
2001.
And since you on the subject of 2001, how many peak years? Because just so you know, in 2003,
I got Lauri Markkanen over Chris Webber. I'm taking Lauri.
What?
In the
Yeah,
in 90's Chris Webber.
You are in the minority.
Let's swap Webber then with somebody else.
You-
So
No,
it's
right,
more
right.
like
Down
you're-
is Chris Webber.
Not that this
You're
is not
definitely
that
in the
this is
minority.
not that this is accurate. Not that this is accurate, but I'll just to make it easier because we'll forget names. I just pulled up Bleachers Report's top 20.
top 20.
Top 20. Hold on, top 25. Top 25 from the 90s. So Derek Coleman, Latrell
Come on
Sprewell,
now.
Chris Mullen, Joe Dumars, Tim Hardaway, Kevin Johnson. A lot of names I already said. Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway,
Kevin Johnson.
Mitt Richmond, Gary
Richards.
Payton, Dennis Rodman, Alonzo Mourning, Reggie Miller, Mutombo, Sean Kemp. Now, some of them are very different positions, different roles. Patrick Ewing, Clyde Drexler, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan. He's not better than any of those, and that's 25.
Any of them dudes.
Hold on. Joe Dumars is not a 90's player. Let's stop that. Don't do that.
He showed up in 85.
He's not a 90's player though. They got their wins in the 80s.
I asked you what
don't
year, and
remember.
you said all of the 90s.
I watched
Okay.
it now.
Okay. Let's take Joe Dumars out. Let's put Jason.
I gave you
Kidd.
25, so take him out if you want.
Okay, let's
Jason
take.
Kidd.
Let's take.
I
him.
like Jason. I consider him a 2000s player.
He
though.
showed up in 94.
But his peak in the 2000s. Am I
He
right?
played
Am I
6 years
wrong?
in a decade.
Am I
6
wrong?
years in a decade. You are wrong.
How?
You are
1990
wrong because he played in the 90s.
1992-93, Joe Dumars was 24.
Jason
2
Kidd
and
was a
4.
great player in the 90s.
Top 10
Yes.
MVP player, all defensive first team, NBA, all NBA second team. Yeah, I would say he was pretty good in 94.
Yeah, 94.
That's
It was 6 more years left.
But you
Jason
keep changing
Kidd?
the narrative when you're proving you're wrong, bro.
No, nobody considers Joe Dumars a 90s player. You can't convince me that.
Do you know when he retired?
Nobody
Joe
convinced
Dumars,
You know when he
Joe
retired?
Dumars
Wasn't
retired
that
in
good?
1999.
He
When he
retired in
retired,
1999.
that good.
That's when Joe Dumars retired.
He played the whole decade. How is he not a 90s
So,
player?
Was he good
just so
the
you know,
whole
of the
That's not
14
what you
years,
asked.
of the 14 years that Joe
I
Dumars
remember
played
Grant
in the
Hill
NBA,
coming to that team.
of the 14 years that Joe Dumars played in the NBA, 10 of them were in the 90s.
He wasn't
10
good
of
the whole
them.
90s. You know that. Come
And he
on.
wasn't good the whole 80s. He wasn't awesome in 85, 86.
He's not
Hold on,
yet.
hold on.
Matter of fact,
You're
I'm taking Markkanen over him too.
Hold on. You're talking
he's
about
outta
a
here.
player. Hold on. You're picking
Okay.
a player who's only been in the league 7 years and only's had 2 good seasons.
That's
You
it.
just said Joe Dumars wasn't good in the 80s.
Because you said
all the
peak for
time,
peak.
and
He only
wasn't
had 2
in the
good
90s all
seasons.
the time. So he got a couple good seasons, right? By your logic.
He got market, but my point is, you're saying that guy didn't play in this decade. I give you an example of 2 years that he played well, peak,
wasn't-
and you said it doesn't
wasn't-
count because it was
he
only
wasn't
2
elite
years.
the whole
Markkanen
decade.
only had 2 good seasons his whole damn career.
He's younger than
True.
Joe Dumars.
Of course he's
Of
younger
course
than
he's
Joe
younger
Dumars.
right
Joe Dumars
now.
60 years old.
Yeah, of course. Let him keep playing. But what I'm saying is, he's not more skilled than Joe Dumars.
Markkanen,
No,
he's
he's
bigger
not.
than Joe Dumars.
No, he's not more
Is
skilled.
he?
No, he's not.
I'll give you that. He's bigger than Joe Dumars. That's it.
Oh,
He's not more,
man,
he's not more
come on.
skilled.
Yeah.
He's not more skilled.
I
I'll
got
give you that.
nostalgia too,
Because
man.
defense is a
100%.
skill.
I
I'll
got
definitely
defense
give
is
you
a
that.
nostalgia
skill.
too. Trust me. But
Wait,
defense
so
is a
Primo,
skill.
bringing it back to kind of like circling back to the point, what is your comparison of Markkanen, a role player? Even though he's not a role player, is Markkanen's
But this
not
is
a
what
role
I'm
player?
saying. You just said he only had 2 seasons of success, right? Which before that he was considered a role player, right?
Who? Laurie
Markkanen.
Markkanen?
Markkanen's been a
I don't know
starter
if
his
he's
whole
a
career.
role player.
He's been a starter his
I
whole
think
career.
he's
been
been a
in the
starter
league.
for a shitty team, but
He's
I don't
been
think
in the
he's
league
a
8 years.
role player.
He's
I
been in
used
the
to
league
go
There's
to
eight
the
levels
years.
game
of
and
role
watch
player.
him, man. I'm from here. I'm from Ohio.
So even if you're
He
from
was a role
Ohio,
player.
This is year 7.
Okay,
This
so-
is year 7.
so year 7, right? What he showed up in.
Right.
15
I
or
drafted.
14?
Listen, I know Laurie Markkanen. I drafted him as a rookie and won my fantasy basketball league. I know a lot about Laurie Markkanen.
I do
He's
too.
not that guy. He's not that guy.
Right. He's
Well, he
a
hasn't finished. We're also looking at the '90s guys as the totality of their career. Laurie
Oh,
hasn't
Markkanen.
even Laurie's not there.
Exactly.
He's halfway through his career, so maybe
he
we'll have a
used him
different
as an
conversation.
example to
But
say
as of
he
right
would be
now,
a-
yeah,
he would be a top
exactly.
20 player in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, I
to your
brought up
point,
an even worse. I said
so to
Jordan
your point,
Clarkson.
Jordan
No.
Clarkson does not compare to any of those dudes.
And
None
also
of
his game
No,
doesn't
I'm
really
saying he'll
translate.
be good in the 90s, though. Come on, man. You go right
them.
to left.
I won't argue that Jordan Clarkson would be a good rotation player.
Bro,
in the
they
90s.
was
I won't
amazing.
argue that.
Every player would be
Yeah, I
good
won't
in
argue that.
every.
Yeah,
Bro, they was
I would-
amazed that Grant go right
would-
to left.
I was
I
not
was
arguing
there.
that.
Hold
bro.
on.
I
Listen.
was there.
You want to
I
take.
would
You
not
want to.
argue
You
that.
guys. You're
I
typical.
was
You're
there.
typical of these guys who want to take someone in a time machine and throw him back 30 years. No. If he
No,
would've played
I
in the
agree.
90s,
I
he's
agree
gotta
with
grow
that
up in the 80s.
evolution. I agree, though. Don't get me wrong. Larry Bird is my favorite old school player ever. Don't get me wrong. If they came today in today's game, I think they would adjust and be great again.
Exactly.
I'm not one of them people, you know. But what I'm saying is the competition level of the 90s and now is it's really not the same. Even from the 2000s,
Of course, it's not the same. There's 2 billion more people.
it's more
Right.
people playing.
And the-
It's
and the-
more.
and
It's
the
more
game
people
is
in the
better.
world. Competition.
There's a difference between the evolution of the game and evolution of people. I mean, evolution of people takes millions of years.
Millions.
Of course,
Okay.
we all know that.
So it's not
we
like
talking
No, not everybody.
so-
Not everybody.
So it's not like the athlete is that much different in 1990 than in 2024. I was watching Kenny Smith in the dunk contest throw the ball between his legs off the backboard and dunking it backwards. Kenny Smith was doing that in the dunk
Yeah,
contest.
but
in 1990.
everybody's seeing them dunks now.
Yeah, but that's creative.
So
Right.
now
That's
them
that's
dunks
creativity.
don't even matter no
Well,
more.
that's
Even
taking
if-
what you
even-
saw
but-
from
but-
decades
Yeah.
ago and building
Yeah.
on it. Like,
Not only that,
Hey.
only that, but the fact that you saw those dunks, I still could do it though. So
No, I'm not taking away from that. But look, say I dunk from the free throw line now, it's not the same impact as when Dr. J did it or Michael Jordan did it. It's not going to be the same if I do the windmill or the arm in the rim because you already seen a million dunks now. That's why the dunk contest not popular. No,
does that take
windmills
away?
wasn't that impressive. I
But my
watched
question is,
Dominique versus Michael Jordan dunk contest.
But does it take away from the fact that I can still do it? Like you did it, I could do it too.
But when it's first seen, like when I first
It
showed
doesn't.
up
But it
with
doesn't
the
make
first
people
car,
less or more athletic.
It's innovative.
yeah, that's just perspective
doesn't
from
make
the
them more
fans. That
athletic,
doesn't.
though.
Yeah.
But if I'm the first to do it, it's innovative.
Yeah,
so it looks
absolutely.
It does look
looks
different. I won't
innovative.
argue that. No, I
It
won't
ain't
argue
like-
that.
Definitely.
But if Zach LaVine go dunk from the free throw line next year in the dunk contest, we're gonna be like, oh, we seen that. That was all right. That was cool. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna have to be the same thing as when he did it with the windmill and all that.
But the difference is
that's
that
true.
which is fair, but what we can't discount is Zach LaVine could dunk from the free throw line. How many dudes can do that?
Is your
I
point
don't
just
know.
saying?
It's a lot of guys that probably could do that right now.
Is your point
How
saying
many?
kinda like this is how old heads look at the game versus how maybe like they discount certain aspects of today's game? Is that kind of the perspective you're coming
Yeah,
from?
it's like you seen certain things, so you'll be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the dunk contest ain't nothing like it
It'll
used
never
to be
compare
because you
to-
seen all that
yeah.
stuff already.
Yeah, I think there's probably aspects of that.
I'm in the minority of that one too, because I will appreciate, like, I see these dunks and people are like, oh, we've seen that before. I'm like, I don't care. It was still impressive. Like, that's still impressive to do what these guys are doing.
But mentally, do
Personally.
you
I
think
know a lot of
you're
people are
always
like that.
comparing it to what you
No,
saw back in the day?
Exactly.
I'm not. I know I'm the
greats.
minority. I don't do that. When I see someone go, under both of their legs and reverse, like, no, I'm still impressed because I know how hard that is.
But
Yeah, I agree. I was back there. I love Penny. I was around in the 90s. That's not. I'm not.
You
young
clearly
like
don't. You clearly don't because you're sitting here
that.
telling
I
me that
think
Laurie
Penny was
Marketing is
better
better.
than them
You're
though.
talking about
When I
Laurie
watched
Marketing
Penny
is better
play,
than all of
I
these
think you
dudes.
just have a
What you
marketing
doing?
bias,
I
maybe.
think Penny was
Yeah.
better
What's
than them
happening
though.
right now?
I think Jordan.
He's still mad that Cleveland
if you
traded
look
him to
at
Utah.
Chill, if you look at any podcast, I've been saying Jordan the GOAT every podcast. But I think LeBron the best player. Greatest and best is not the two. It's not the same.
Yeah,
to
they're
me.
different.
That's just better at basketball. All right, I get that.
Yeah.
That
Better
part I
at
get.
basketball, but the greatest. It's a storyline when it comes to you being the GOAT, Muhammad Ali, and all this stuff that happened to him.
Was Muhammad Ali the best boxer?
Probably not. I got Sugar Ray Robinson as the best boxer of all time,
Right.
but Muhammad Ali's storyline line up it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Jordan's like, man, it lined up. You go your last year and hit the game-winning shot.
That wasn't his last year. He played
Come
2 more
on,
years.
man.
It was
It
at
wasn't
one
his
point.
last year. Yeah, it wasn't his last
until he
year.
went back to the Wizards. He
But
should have never did that.
No, he shouldn't have. He should have quit
Yeah.
in 98. And
Guys.
actually he should have quit in 93 and not came back. But that's another story for another day.
He should have kept
We
playing.
all know the truth about 93 Chill.
Right. But what I'm asking is when you have guys who are this good, right? When you have guys who are this good in an era, even rotation players or even role players like Larry Nance, like how good would Larry Nance be in today's game? The athlete
I
that
agree.
he was back
It's
then,
certain players.
right?
He'd be better than his son.
Yeah,
He'd be better than his son.
Whose game would translate? Like I look at Dylan Brooks. I look at Dylan Brooks in today's game. Bobby Fields couldn't do that. Bobby Fields was better than him.
I agree with that though. I agree that Ralph Sampson, the healthy Ralph Sampson would dominate.
That's Wemby.
That is
Wemby right there.
It ain't the first time we seen it. He just got hurt.
And what we're not going to do is we're not going to discount. But we're not going to do.
I'm bringing my friend Vin. A couple weeks, I'm bringing my friend Vin Baker on. He'll give you some perspective.
Oh, I know about that. Vin Baker was nice.
What we're not going to do is we're not going to discount Wemby because I already seen him in Ralph Sampson.
Exactly.
Hell no, I'm not doing that. Hell no, I don't want to do that.
Oh, I don't discount. I'm a John Stockton guy. Okay. I like John Stockton. See, I ain't that young. But what we saying is that John Stockton really can't guard it like Steph Curry would damage him. He wouldn't look like the defensive player that he is.
Fluent, you're not.
Oh.
So let me ask you a question because you brought up Steph Curry. Who's slowing down Steph Curry?
I agree with that.
Father Time.
Then, guess what? A player like Gary Payton will tell you John Stockton could slow him down. He can't stop Russell Westbrook he can't. Come on, man.
I can mute myself, thank you.
Your mic.
But Stockton was the top. Who was the best point guard in the league in the 90s? Who was the best point?
Who was the best point? It was Stockton.
It was Stockton.
Yeah.
Now imagine who was the best point guard in the league from what 2000? Let's say 8 to 18.
2008 to 18.
So Chris Paul. Darren Williams was in that conversation. Chris Paul,
I definitely agree.
Rondo was in that conversation. It was a pretty big
Where's the now think
about a couple
that.
Years of Derrick Rose.
Now think about that. Can he guard any of them people?
Mike check. Could Derrick Rose slow down Rondo? No. But I'd like to think that John Stockton would give these guys. I'd like to think John Stockton would give these guys a run for their money.
Derrick
100%.
Rose, man, he could never slow down Derrick Rose.
If John Stockton could handle Gary Payton, if John Stockton could handle Jason Kidd, he could handle Derrick Rose.
Johnson.
I don't know, man.
He could definitely if he can handle Mark Price, if he can handle
Mark Price was nice.
Handle Rod
I give you that.
If he can handle Rod Strickland, I think he can hold his own against these guys today.
And Rod Strickland was nice. Kyrie's godfather.
I think that he could.
But I don't think he could do. These not the same breed. Russell Westbrook averaging the triple. You got Oscar Robertson in the league right now. You got the greatest shooter ever. You got so many. You got Dame Lillard right next to him shooting logo threes. You got too many. It's so many point guard.
Hey, Primo, you made Chill.
You made Chill's internet go out.
He'll be right back. He'll never let up.
He'll be back. But again, you're using different things. You're saying now there's the shooters. Yeah, of course. You're gonna have all the best shooters right now because why? Because that's where the league has gone. Everyone's shooting significantly more. Okay. Right, my son is 9, and I don't know if you saw the clips.
Seen him.
He's hitting NBA threes, right? Because that's what they're doing. So of course they're going to be better. But did they have the footwork that they had? Did they have the passing? Like these other?
No.
It's different. So of course you're going to say that.
McHale.
Yeah,
but we all know people go to Hakeem to try to get that footwork. You see
But
what I'm
there you
saying?
go. There's a guy from the 80s that they're going to learn footwork
But we
from.
love Hakeem. All the new generation, we put Hakeem over everybody. We put Hakeem over
You should.
Kareem and everybody.
You should.
The new generation do.
Hakeem has footwork, defense, offense. He had everything. Shot blocking, steals. When you seen a 7-footer get 200 blocks and 100 steals?
But we
Yeah, the
agree with
IQ.
y'all. We the ones that put Hakeem in the top 10. Before it was Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain. It was all
You
types
could
of
speak
people.
for
As it
yourself.
should
I was
be.
putting Hakeem there a lot way before everybody.
You might have Fluent because you know basketball, but a lot of pundits was not putting Hakeem in that top 10.
That's
We
fair.
can go
That's
back
fair.
and look at them lists. They'll have
Okay.
Pippen over Hakeem. They'll have anybody.
Pippen.
They was disrespectful at one point.
Right.
Pippen
So,
over Hakeem. That's
Minor, did you have a take, I guess, to ask Chill or Fluent?
Yeah, I do. First of all, what's going on, fellas and young ladies? Man, this week of social media basketball talk. whew, whew. But beyond that, I wanted to get your opinion about, because everybody's talking about
Look at
90s
Mars.
players compared to players now. And I want to take 3 players that made all-star teams in the 90s, and would they make teams, and nowadays, would they make them better? So the first one I want to ask you about is Mitch Richmond. If you take Mitch Richmond off of, or put him on, let's say, Boston, does he make Boston better if you take him off instead of Jaylen Brown?
Yes. They're still an awesome team. Take Jaylen
I
Brown
think
off.
Mitch Richmond translates.
Yes.
Richmond translates.
That's Anthony
Wow.
Edwards, Sep playing above the rim. That's who Anthony Edwards is.
That's a bad
Okay.
comparison.
Sep
Mitch
Anthony Edwards
Richmond
play
was
above the rim.
nice.
Okay. If you take D'Lo off of the Lakers and you add Mark Price, does that make the Lakers better or worse?
Oh,
Better.
yikes.
I
Imagine
like
that
Mark
dude.
Price.
Way
Imagine that dude.
Can we make that happen? I'm in.
For real. Can you
Mark Price
imagine?
would be perfect for the Lakers right now.
Can you imagine Mark Price on the wing and as a distributor getting James and Anthony Davis like that pick and pop you see with Austin Reeves?
That's Steve
and
Nash.
Anthony Davis.
Look,
my
look.
goodness.
No, but Mitch could shoot the 3. That's why I'll be like, oh, he could hit the 3.
Yep. Absolutely.
And the last one is Glenn Rice. Looking at maybe adding him to Miami instead of like Duncan Robinson.
So
Would he?
So wait a minute. No, don't even go Glenn Rice. How about let's not even go Glenn Rice. Let's go Big Dog. How about Glenn Robinson? How about that? Let's do that. Let's go with Big Dog. Let's take Glenn Rice off and let's go with Big Dog, a bucket getter.
But
Man,
they
that
both
locker
in the
room
same
be
era,
real
though,
crazy,
huh?
Chill.
I tell you what, it won't be though. It won't lack buckets. I bet you that.
Nah, it won't. It's
I
just
bet you that.
It won't
It's-
It won't like
fist
buckets
flying
with either
either.
one of them, though.
It won't
It's
lack
just
buckets.
frustrating to hear everybody kind of poo-poo on the 90s players
Yeah.
this whole week. And I'm like, man, and what's with the thing that's kind of the most frustrating is they don't know. Like you had the guy on earlier this week on the panel, or this morning, who clearly had no idea about Eddie Jones, who clearly had no idea about Chris Webber. And it was just frustrating to hear him poo-poo all over these players that he has no in-depth knowledge about. And he's just going off of these clips that he's watching on YouTube.
Tone, I'm telling you,
I told you. Anyone, you just need to take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath and know. Anyone that says they're done with the 90s is just casual on casual crime. That's it.
Like I said, I lost 5 years of my life. I lost 5 years off my life this morning on the panel. I'm sure.
I seen it. Hey, I see me and H the only people up here that are we neutral in this right now. But what we saying is that look, when you look at the 90s players, did you watch the Phoenix Suns series when Jordan just walked to the hole all day? He just walked in.
Right.
He did it. That layup. I watched that my whole life as a kid when he did the left hand layup on Magic Johnson. Nobody contested it. He did it for no reason, just to show off. He did it for nothing.
That is a misconception. As someone who was watching that game very closely, hoping that he fell and broke his leg, let me tell you what you obviously didn't see if you go watch it again.
Oh yeah, because you're a Lakers fan.
That's right. As he went up, you will see to his left. I don't quote me on who it was. Goes like they're gonna jump, and
Sam
that's
Perkins.
what gets him to. And
It was
Sam
Sam
Perkins.
Perkins.
And don't forget, Sam Perkins and him played together in North Carolina, so he figured
He
Sam
wasn't
might
scared
try
of
to.
Sam Perkins.
It wasn't that he was scared. No one said he was scared, but
He
he
dunked
thought,
on
hey,
him.
Sam might contest, and I'm going to do. And in an instant, he just did it instinctually because you see Sam go like this and then stop. So it was just instinctually that he didn't. Now maybe some of it was to show off, but he also
It was real
like,
slow.
I'm not even going to do
it. Didn't look like it
Go
was
watch.
quick. It was
Go watch.
real
Go
like,
watch Sam go like this.
I already had it planned.
You know how I know? Because I was cussing at both of those guys. Because there was one guy on either side, and I was cussing at them both for not at least jumping and trying to contest him or knock him down. So I know that they were pissed me
So
off.
what
They
if
should have
they
knocked him on
zone
his ass.
defense
But
MJ
anyways.
right now?
What if they zone deep? Well, he's 60 years old, so that's not gonna
No,
work.
Yeah,
no,
he
not that. I'm talking
He
about
still probably dropped
MJ,
20.
But Jordan, so
1996.
I love this. I love this though.
Let's say Jordan 19. I'd like to think that 1996 Jordan was a better shooter, not just at the
Right.
long ball line.
I'm giving him that.
He's a better shooter. But let's go back a little bit further. How about like 1990? Like
92
91
Jordan, the best Jordan to me. 91, 92, that type, that's the best Jordan.
And we're talking about a Jordan who, I mean, he played against zone in college. The reason why he was as good as he was in the pros because there was no zone.
Right.
Zone
right.
wasn't like that. Zone wasn't like that. So it's not like
of course zone was in the college and they had no 3-point line.
It's not like he couldn't get back acclimated to the zone. It's not like that wouldn't happen. If they played zone in the NBA like they play today, and to your point, when you're talking about Jordan walking into the lane, how many times have we seen guys walk into the lane today?
But no, that's not our point. Our point is that y'all say everybody weak today, but we go back and look and we watch MJ throw up phantom fouls. He do the same thing everybody else do.
But hold on, no one said everybody's weak today.
I didn't say that.
We started the whole show saying that they weren't.
You might not have said that, but that's the whole rebellion.
Say that.
MJ said it. MJ said this era was soft. He said it. He disrespected this era.
This era, hold on.
But
this era,
though.
This era is soft.
Yeah.
So he was soft when he told them that they was following. When he went and told the commissioner that they was beating them up in Detroit.
Did you see what was going on?
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. What he said was they're intentionally trying to hurt me, which they admitted that's what they were doing. So for him to say that, it was true. They were trying to hurt him.
I'm starting to think.
He doesn't want to. And let's be clear. Prior to him going to the commissioner and saying that, David Stern already made the deal with NBC for more money than the NBA had ever seen for that contract, and they said,
I agree with that. You got to protect the big dog.
So, you brought it up for no reason then.
No, but what I'm saying is, y'all complain about everybody else, but I watch MJ yell at referees, and I'm not mad because he MJ. I never thought he was supposed to win with the I ain't gonna say that because y'all a syndicated show, but they was overdosing back then. I ain't thinking he was gonna win with that squad. You see what I'm saying? We don't blame MJ for not winning with Pippen until y'all blame the newer era for not winning with certain people. And I know y'all don't do that, but
But when you say you're on our show, we don't do that. Right? That's more that casual.
Unless you have a specific instance.
No, his logic is that we're a representation of these people that's doing it.
Exactly.
That's what the logic is that we represent these people. So it's basically us doing it. When in reality, I watched Jordan get body slammed against the Washington Wizards when he had a concussion. I watched Jordan get clotheslined by the Detroit Pistons. I watched Jordan get roughed up by the Philadelphia 76ers.
But I watched Bron do that. I watched Bron get roughed up in the projects up here. I'm from Akron. I watched all that. We beat him up on the football field. Right. He was a crybaby. That new stuff that y'all seeing now, him crying about fouls, he been a crybaby. He was a crybaby in Pee Wee. You see what I'm saying? But he always been good though. You see what I mean?
But the difference is that you just compounding the point. So Jordan was a crybaby, so was James.
Yeah, they both all superstars crybabies.
Okay, so I don't understand what the point is.
No,
If
that's
dudes
our
are cry-
point.
if
Y'all
dudes
can't
are cry-
bash us for the same stuff that y'all did in the 90s.
nobody there's no whoa. The stuff
It
that was
is.
going
It's
on,
a bashing.
the stuff that was going on back then. It's on film. You seen Jordan getting body slammed. You seen Jordan getting clotheslined. You seen Scottie Pippen getting clotheslined. You seen these guys hard fell. That was going on. Let's not make it sound like that wasn't going on, because it was
But we've
going
been
on.
getting clotheslined in the ghetto forever, though, huh?
Right,
You know that?
right, and you had to play through it. You had to play through it. The problem is it ain't good for aesthetics. It's not good for TV. No,
Exactly.
we can't
I
have
agree.
that. We can't.
But-
That's not good for
But
TV.
Jordan used
So-
to go down to Essex Avenue to get beat on. He knew that it was coming. He used to go play. Him and Scotty used to go to the ghetto to play basketball because they knew they was gonna get beat on. Everybody think they got stronger from just weights. No, they went to Essex Avenue to get beat on.
Right, because this the game, and
It's the game.
So here's the difference. You telling me that he's going to the commissioner when in reality, this is the way the game was being played. Right, the game was being played this way. So what are my alternatives? Am I going to quit? Well, no, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep crying Am I going to cry to David Stern? No, I'm not going to keep doing that because this is the game. So I got two choices: quit or get better. So what I'm going to do, to your point, I'm going down to Essex Ave. I'm going to Lafayette Projects. I'm going to Booker T Projects because I'm going to go learn to play like this because this is the game today. And in fact, not only am I going to learn how to play like this, I'm going to bring the fight to you guys. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the fight to you guys. And then a guy like Scottie Pippen who sees this and goes, I'm with this dude, so I'm going to bring the fight to you guys too. And then the game ends up changing because of that. So I'm not just going to sit around and go, yo, Jordan complained to the refs. Everybody was complaining to the refs.
Facts.
Complaining to the refs. All of
What's
these
the
dudes
famous quote Magic Johnson said? Oh, don't touch Michael, because if you touch Michael, it's a foul. Come on, man. This was
92.
This was the dream team.
That was 1992.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It been precedented. If you touch Michael, it's a foul.
But that's also a bit of an exaggeration. But okay.
No, it wasn't an exaggeration.
You understand why,
it
though?
It wasn't an exaggeration.
So I just want to make sure, Tone, that we understand why this was going on. So remember, it wasn't because just Jordan. It wasn't just because of Jordan's game or him complaining. The league was being built around him, and aesthetically, the best player. The league was being the league was he was the next generation. He was the next generational player. And what we can't have is we can't have the next generational player getting body slammed. We can't have the next generational player getting clotheslined.
But they let LeBron get body slammed.
That's not good for
TV.
TV.
Nobody was body slamming LeBron.
That's not good for TV.
That's not true.
That's not good.
That's not true because for every time you saw a 90s player get clotheslined, I've seen LeBron not get hit and fall. And let me say, I think it's brilliant
because he had to adjust.
And I think it's brilliant of him because they are dumb enough to call the foul. But hold on, as much as they were building the league around Jordan, that is not why, guys. I have to say this every week. That is not why they created the flagrant foul rule. They created the flagrant foul rule because NBC and TNT, and I'm going to get to it in a second, NBC and TNT said, we can't have so many fights. We want to put the NBA on prime time. So NBC said, here's $600 million. TNT said, here's $275 million. They put David Stern $875 million reasons to stop what was going on because the previous deal was $20 million. So for $875 million, that's why that rule was implemented.
Wait a minute, though, Tom, because that is fair. But with that being said, who was the guy who they were building a league around?
I said, they're building it around Jordan,
right? And
they don't want to see that type of play.
Right. So he was becoming what the league is, and we can't have this kind of play. This can't happen. Now, don't get me wrong. The other guys benefited from it. Yes, they did.
Everybody to this day.
Yes,
every player has benefited from it.
The other guys 100%.
Facts. Yeah. MJ, that guy. MJ created. Nobody's going to reach the reverence of Michael Jordan. You could be whoever you want. Everybody's going to go back to Michael Jordan because he helped the league get $100 million contracts and
Listen, if all the players should be thanking him, because if it wasn't for his shoe deal, if it wasn't for his $30 million a season, that was 110% of the salary cap.
Kobe.
It was him.
I would
He's
think
the
they'd
first.
be
He's the one.
thanking Magic, but okay.
No, you
What's
got to
that?
thank MJ.
Nah, Magic was the first one to have the huge contract.
He had a terrible contract, though.
No. Jordan's the first one to have more than the salary cap dedicated to him.
And have a trademark on his name.
And let's be clear, Charles Barkley is wrong. The first guy to have make $1 million was Otis Birdsong, who played for the New Jersey Nets. He was the first guy to make $1 million.
See,
so
that's that history I be talking about right there. This is why I love this show.
So Charles was wrong about that. Magic was not the first guy to make $1 million.
I'll give you one more.
It was Otis Birdsong. So
who else? Who else, Fluent?
Anyway, fellas, it was dope to see y'all.
We didn't do our thing.
What thing?
Do we have our 5 minutes? We're gonna do our chart or what?
Yeah,
Mitchell Robinson to beat the Kembe Mutombo in the 90s.
Hey, you for real? If you want to keep it a bean, Rudy Gobert would absolutely be. He would be a legend in the 90s.
He'll be dominant.
Yeah, he'd be a legend in the 90s.
He would be phenomenal.
Yes, Rudy Gobert would be a legend in the 90s. So 100% he would, no doubt about it.
Do we have time for this?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
You guys can stay. We got 5 more minutes.
You can stay if you want, but
4 minutes. You guys are welcome to stay, or if you want to hop off, you can too. But yeah, so we've got we're gonna rank the last 10 NBA champions in order. All right. So this is gonna take some deduction here, but should we start from the bottom or the top? Let's start with the top. Let's start with the best.
Irvin K is so funny right now.
I know. Irvin.
Oh my God.
Oh man. Okay. All right.
Ooh, that's not. I don't like that one. All right, let's go. All right, we got number 10. Number 10. Who's number 10? Who's the worst champion on this list?
Yeah, I would go with the Raptors.
I knew you. I'm not even going to fight it, even though I disagree. I
disagree too.
It's either the Raptors or the Bucks.
I'll go with the Raptors.
The Bucks? All right, let's go with the Bucks.
Wait, why are we not saying Lakers? What do you mean? I feel like
what
that 2020 Laker team.
The Lakers had AD.
They were the best defense out
here. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
In the bubble, though, I just
we should
think
we should go all the Warriors at the bottom.
Because if you look at the adverse, like what they had to overcome throughout the season. I'm just saying, I hear it used all the time. Maybe
I'll be watching you on Twitter too. You be on ass with the Golden State Warriors.
Hey,
I do. I'll remain unbiased. I will.
Isn't it the 16 Cavs though?
No, because they beat the 73-9. No way.
Don't even do that. Don't
all right, let's just go with.
So the Lakers. Okay, so we clear the Lakers.
The 73-9 Warriors are way overrated. Go ahead.
Before COVID hit, they was on their way to winning 60 plus games that year.
Beat everybody.
James was going to win the league MVP, by the way.
Yeah, he had passed up Giannis.
Yeah, not only was James
beat Giannis.
Yeah, James was going to win the league MVP,
and they
Boston. They won the NBA championship. That 2020 Bucks, that 2020 Lakers team was a lot better. They're a lot better than we give them credit for. I think that.
Okay.
I think that's.
So are Bucks at 10 or Bucks or Raptors?
I think see what Caldwell Pope do to the Lakers every time he see them ever since that trade. He don't even play with them. He cooked them every time for that.
Ain't no games being played over here.
Yeah, you can put you grab the right one. You go and put the Warriors over there.
Okay.
That's 17
so
Warriors.
We got the Raptors. What Warriors? No,
we got here. We got Bucks at 10. We got Bucks at 10. Raptors at 9.
Okay. We got, and then
then Lakers.
Who's 8?
No, it got to be the 17 Warriors. Out of all of those teams. Out of those teams that's left, the teams that they had to beat, the adversity they had to go against.
That's probably number 1.
Yeah, that team ridiculous right there, bro.
Right there.
Wait, okay, hold on. So how are we grading this? Are we grading by how great the team was, or the best team?
Championships in relation to each other.
Yeah, from of these
Oh,
teams.
yeah.
If we going
That's
off
definitely
best championship, then we already know what that is. But
I think it's these Spurs are probably coming in at
and
8
not the
because
finals
this was
run,
the
like-
old. This was the older Spurs, right?
I love
Yeah.
that Spurs team, though. Fluent, come on, think about that Spurs.
But
team.
who are they better than up
Nobody
here?
can
Yeah,
beat them.
yeah,
Any of
yeah.
these
The
teams.
18 Warriors, they better than them.
I
Okay,
got
so
the
then I'm putting
22
18 Warriors.
Warriors next.
What?
bet-
I
They
don't-
better than the 18
No,
Warriors?
no,
I
no,
think
no.
they-
What are we
I think
doing?
they-
I don't
they-
get this insane.
Out
The
there,
22
that's
Warriors.
that Spurs team. I
They
think
better than the 22 Warriors, definitely. That Spurs team was
The
running.
22 Warriors.
It was
should be out
poetry
there
in
rap.
motion. That
Yeah.
finals
That-
run,
that-
the
that's
way they was cutting and passing,
they better
it
than
was
the Nuggets too.
beautiful.
They better than Denver too.
Oh,
Right.
whoa, hey,
What
whoa,
the
whoa.
Spurs team?
No,
Yeah, they better
Fluent,
than the
that
Nuggets
is
too.
Yes,
unre-
that's the
drop
best team.
Drop the Lakers
Hey,
all
you
the way
might as well
down
put
to
them
5.
number one. Put the
No,
Spurs number one.
Fluent. This is insane. Stop.
All right,
I'm not-
sorry.
No, I just mean Lakers are not number 1. Take them
No,
down.
never.
Put them down. Fluent.
Oh, that's wrong.
No,
Oh, my bad.
Right.
We could do this quick because the
This
show
is-
over.
Let's do it. Yeah, that's what I'm
Take it
trying. No one's giving me a solid answer, so I'm just throwing names.
I
out.
said Lakers
No,
at
we
5.
put the Spurs number one.
No.
Spurs what?
Spurs team number one. Yes.
Okay, how about this?
No,
how about this? How about this?
no.
I got a better idea.
Seven,
I got
put
an
the
idea.
Warriors-
Yes.
I got a,
Bro,
Hold on, I
that
got an
was
idea. I
beautiful
have an idea. I have an
basketball.
idea.
Did you watch it?
hold on. You see the
Look.
teams. Hold on. You see the teams. Well, no. I'm gonna
Okay.
make it. I'm gonna make it easy. I'm putting people I'm putting people in the wrong spot.
Yeah, we all
Wait,
got
are
Um,
Nuggets,
no, no,
are
hold on.
Nuggets too high?
I'm gonna go quick. No. Hold on. I got an idea. Here's the idea, Haley.
She the
If I can ever get this to work. Okay. Haley, you're
Yep.
gonna go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Jay, then me, and then whoever you want of our guests, and you just pick. We're gonna go down the list. Nuggets, you're gonna say where they are.
It's us. It's us three. It's us three. We're gonna go. Us
Right.
three.
Okay,
y'all three
okay, go.
first,
All right,
Wait,
go.
we're
us
going?
three last.
Okay.
Go ahead. So Haley, where do you have the Nuggets?
Denver. Okay, I'm gonna.
We all
I'm
agreed
actually-
that the Bucks are 10. We all agreed the Bucks are 10. So I'm gonna leave
I'm
that
gonna
one
put
there.
Nuggets at 6. I think that
Nuggets
they
at
had to
6,
face
okay.
Miami and had a pretty easy run, but not easy run. I love
Jay,
that.
Wow.
Jay, the 22 Warriors.
Next to the Bucks.
And just so you know, you're allowed to take after we're done. You can do. You're allowed to bump one. You're allowed to
Next
pick
to
a
the-
team and
next-
bump them if you don't.
Next to the Bucks.
So the 22 Warriors next to the Bucks.
Next to the Bucks.
Disrespecting my guy Andrew Wiggins.
That is.
Oh, perfect. I get the Lakers. So
insane.
Lakers
Insane.
Wow.
number 1. Okay.
Oh, come on, Fluent.
Take
All right,
them
Raptors.
over there.
No, you get my
Raptors are
Raptors.
not better than the. I'll put them at 9. I mean, this is insane already.
9. Okay, so I got to bump the Warriors up 1.
Yeah.
Okay, Jay, you got the 17.
Thank you, Haley.
Warriors.
Thank you.
Who do I have, Tone? The 17 Warriors?
Warriors. Yeah.
They're at the top of the list.
So they're 1.
Yes. No, they're two. They're two.
They're
They're
2.
two. Yes, they're two.
Haley, you have the Spurs.
Spurs are. No. Lakers are bumped because Lakers are bumped. He said they're at the top of the list.
So if
So
you
the
put the
Lakers go
Spurs
down
1,
Warriors are up. No,
you
no,
no,
we're
we're not going to keep
no,
doing this. But
You only get one. You only get one. You have to put the team in a spot right now.
So
you get the
so
one
the
bump
other,
at the end.
so the
You get the
Warriors
one
can get
bump at
bumped,
the
but
end.
the Lakers can't.
You.
Why are
no,
we adding
they
rules?
got-
Okay,
They
okay.
got bumped. Yeah,
Fine.
we're gonna,
I agree
yeah.
with Haley. The Lakers
Fine,
got to
fine.
get bumped.
This is insane.
So where are you putting the Spurs?
They're under the Warriors. They should be at 2, but we'll put them at 3.
Okay. So I got the 15 Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 15 Warriors are going to slide right in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jay, you got the Cavs.
That Cavs team is better than that Laker team.
Facts.
That
So you're
Cavs-
gonna put the Cavs
Thank
at
you,
1?
Jay.
that Cavs team is better than that Laker team.
Are
That
you
might
saying
be
you're putting
the
the
best-
Cavs
Hey.
at 1?
Yes, Jay.
Yeah.
Jay,
Good
I'm
move.
with you, man.
Great move.
That
Great
Cavs
move.
team is better than that Laker team. Yes, they are. 100%
No.
they are.
No, it
100%.
goes down.
That's
it
how
goes
it
Not
down.
number one.
That's how it works.
Not
Number one.
Not
That's
number one.
right.
'Cause I don't
You're going to
think- I
get
don't
one
think they-
switch. You're
I
going
don't
to get
think
one
they-
trade.
It look
at the
good
end.
now.
Warriors, Cavs, then
So now the
your
Warriors
Lakers
have to go
should be at
here.
6.
That
Okay,
look
so now-
good. That
No,
look good
this
right
isn't.
there.
No.
The Lakers should be at least
No,
5.
take the Lakers. Look, this is how we do it. Take the
We should
Lakers
probably
to
say
fifth.
that. What year is
That
this?
Laker,
Is it
that Laker
16
team
Cavs?
wasn't better than that 14 Spurs
Why
team
are you-
either.
We always
What?
debate
Take
and
the
Warriors,
Lakers to
Bulls,
fifth.
Warriors
Lakers
and
team-
17
Spurs are
Warriors
the top.
up and lead the
20.
Spurs at
Is
4th.
LS.
That's it.
That 14 Spurs team was
14
Spurs team was better than that Laker team in
Yes,
2020.
yes,
They
yes,
were.
yes. Facts.
23
Spurs should be at 2,
Nuggets.
Warriors should be at 1, and Lakers should be at 4 or 5.
No.
I don't
The
know about
Cavs
that.
16
Chill.
team is number 1. That's right. W list. Look, somebody said that in the chat. Oh, look at H. Don't do that. Put the one that came before that. W list.
I don't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, really quick. We have to jump off soon. So rate this list, and you two can give us a quick update on what you think. What would you guys change?
You can make. What's your change, Haley? What's your change?
I would swap Warriors to the top. I think Lakers should go down, and I think Spurs should be number 2.
So that 16 Warriors team wasn't better than the 17. That 16 Warriors team wasn't better? I'm sorry, that 16 Cavs team wasn't better than the 17 Warriors. They weren't. Because they lost to them.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yes, that right there. Yep.
Okay.
No, that wasn't the same team that lost to him, though. You know.
So there's your list:
that.
Lakers, Warriors, Cavs, Spurs, Warriors, Nuggets, Warriors, Raptors, Bucks. And you know why? Because I made the list, and I
agree, though.
I think
that's good.
I think that Warriors team should be number 1. Spurs number 2.
Yeah, that Lakers team was not that 20
Warriors.
Lakers team was not better than that 17 Warriors team.
No.
Yeah.
I think Cavs should be.
Or the Cavs.
Cavs should be number 3.
No, they were not.
Or
Tone,
the Spurs.
Tone, you do understand people are going to see this and they're going to be looking at us like we crazy. I just want to put that out there, Tone. People are going to
Well,
see
you
this.
know, Tone, I'm with you. Hey,
No,
Tone,
he's crazy.
I'm riding with you all the way, man. The Lakers, Brian was on that
And
team.
that's how you know you're on the
I'm riding
wrong
with you,
side,
baby.
Fluent.
That's the best team.
Lakers, baby. Lakers,
We gonna
baby.
get real-
Lakers in 6.
We're going to get
Lakers
baby.
in 6. Don't nobody want to see
Sorry,
them.
no, you said
But I'm
The
for it.
credibility is shot.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, just so you know.
Listen,
We
fandom,
did Toronto wrong.
fandom over facts. Fandom over
Yeah.
facts. That's what everybody else
Fandom
does.
over facts.
Actually,
Fandom over facts.
yeah, that's what
And
it sounds like.
facts.
And so be clear. Whenever you hear those ESPN snippets, such and such is not. This is not indicative to what ESPN. This is Tone right here. So
Yeah.
because this is not
This
us.
is bad,
No.
Look at
So
them
you
16 Cavs, though.
so you know, ladies and gentlemen, this
So
is
you want
this is
this?
not, Tone does not speak for
You
all
want
of us.
this?
Yeah.
Well, look
Oh,
the
that.
footage up.
Spurs at 2.
Okay.
Spurs at 2.
I'm good. Yep.
Okay.
And then slide them right over.
Yes.
Perfect.
Does that make you
That
happier?
look good.
Perfect.
Now
I
that
disagree,
look good.
I'm cool with
That's
that.
I don't know.
perfect.
I put them 18 words over the Lakers too, though. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
count.
No.
And also our Raptors.
No.
Man, listen, man. I'm from
You can
Akron,
put
man. Can
22
I
low.
keep it real?
You can put 22 Warriors
Here's my
lower.
list. Here's my list.
Oh, man. Oh. Yeah.
At the bottom.
Okay. Well, there.
You know what, man? I'm mad at KD, man, for doing that. He was my
threw a
dude.
monkey wrench in
That
everything,
summer
fam.
together.
I'm on record saying that. Let's be clear about one thing. I'm on record saying that KD do a monkey wrench in everything. I hate him for that,
Everything.
yo.
Oh, listen, man.
I hate him
The
for that.
entire like
He
landscape.
threw a monkey wrench
really
in
could look
everything when he
different
did
right
that.
now.
He threw a monkey wrench in it.
I'm
Everything.
a basketball fan. I love all the great players, but when you do stuff like that, you hurt me, KD. I thought you was gonna be the GOAT. I thought you could have been the GOAT.
He threw a
There we
monkey
go.
wrench in it.
That's
Threw a
the
monkey
right
wrench
list
in the
right
hole.
there. LeBron, the
That is
GOAT,
bad.
James, Kawhi, the GOAT, Leonard with the Raptors, Giannis from my country, and the Bucks. There we go. That there.
Kawhi
That's
is
what-
Michael Jordan Leonard. Don't nobody want to talk about how Kawhi the closest player to Michael Jordan. It's not really Kobe.
Since
Like
we on the-
98 Jordan, maybe.
Since we on
Hey,
the subject,
put that-
since we on the subject of Kawhi Leonard, they on right now. We got to wrap up the show.
Yeah,
guys.
All right,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you guys for coming through.
That's
Appreciate
the
you
next,
all.
Always.
next topic.
We gotta
Kawhi
wrap
Leonard,
the
the closest
Oscars.
player
I'm gonna
to
hit the
Jordan,
music.
not Kobe.
We got to
Hey,
wrap
Fluent,
up.
Hit the music.
Can I ask
Yeah,
you a
yeah,
quick
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, go for it.
How close were the Lakers to trading Grant Hill for Kobe Bryant in '98?
I heard that.
How
was a
close
real
was
thing.
that?
I heard that was a real thing, yo. A real thing.
And how much better would the Lakers have been after that trade?
Not
Grant
better.
Hill, Grant Hill and Shaq.
Yeah,
Grant Hill and Shaq.
I
because
want
you know
Kobe.
Shaq ain't leaving if Grant Hill's on the team.
But
Yeah,
he
but
get
if Grant Hill
hurt
gets
though.
hurt,
We
it doesn't
can't
matter.
change that.
No. He got hurt the next year. They
Yeah,
would have
but-
traded him 98, 99. He wasn't hurt then. As a matter of fact, that's his prime.
But does
Who was
Grant,
better, bro? Let's look at the skill
does
set.
Grant,
Who was
does
better?
Grant Hill get hurt though? Does Grant
No.
Hill get hurt?
No.
But what
Yeah,
if the Lakers
he probably runs
would
into
have
Shaq.
traded Kobe for
He
LeBron?
runs into Shaq the first week and he doesn't play a game.
I don't know.
Oh, come on,
Kobe.
Fluent, don't do that.
I got Kobe. Hey, I got Kobe over Jordan right now. I ain't even gonna lie, man.
All right, we got to
no.
bounce. All right,
Yeah,
we
we
got to
have.
bounce.
All right, fellas.
Bye, you guys.
We got to bounce.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Tell him to
Hey,
take
good
his
night.
life or something.
We got to bounce. It's time to bounce.
Primo. Oh, he's so funny. All right, you guys. Well, we appreciate all of you for locking in tonight. This was a good show. Yeah, we got some good moments for sure. Any last thoughts from both of you to end this topic? I know it's kind of a crazy one over the week.
I'm
We're not
done with the
going nowhere.
90s.
We're not going nowhere. We're not going nowhere.
Okay.
We will be here. We're not going nowhere. We're not done with
Done.
the 90s. We're not done with the
Done.
80s. We're not done with the 70s. We're not done with the 60s.
No,
None of
I'm
those.
not going by
We're
our
not
house
done
no
with
more.
2000. Sorry.
No
We're not
more.
done with
It's over. It's done with.
So,
It's over. I'm moving
right,
to a new
guys.
country.
Maybe a good idea. All right, get those likes up, guys. And if you have any questions or any thoughts, make sure to leave a comment under this video. But for now, Jay?
drink water. Put on a suit. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. Until then, take it light. Take it.
I'm gonna bring you some coffee.